Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Marvel. I have countless villain followers. Chapter 41. Zephyr and Li Yan met for the second time, and this was also the first time that Zephyr saw Li Yan's appearance clearly. He is 1.8 meters tall, with black hair and black eyes. He is elegant and handsome. He is young. Although he does not look strong, he feels very powerful. Li Yan asked. Black wrist, Zephyr, BU Kill General, former Navy Admiral, former Navy Chief Instructor, and current teacher of the 3 Navy Generals. Most of the senior Navy people have been taught by you. Have you considered it, Zephyr? Your background is very scary. If your son were alive, had your talents, and your connections, would the Navy belong to your family? Or would it belong to the world government? It's hard to say. No matter what age he is, Li Yan first gives the world government a shit basin. Zephyr secretly thought in his heart that this possibility was not impossible. He had been a naval admiral and knew the corruption and darkness of the world government. After hearing this, Ain and Binz thought Li Yan was talking nonsense. Ain questioned, how is it possible? You know that the Navy and the world government are one and the same. How could they do this to persecute the family members of the Navy? Li Yan chuckled. Are the Navy and the world government the same family? In the eyes of the world government, the Navy is not an army that upholds justice, but a dog. This dog must be obedient. Zephyr, you are powerful and have many students. Your son will become a Navy admiral. The probability of becoming a marshal of the Navy is very high. With your character, the Navy will become much better and stronger. This is something some people don't want to see. At this moment, Zephyr believed at least 3 points of Li Yan's conspiracy theory. Zephyr said in a deep voice, I will investigate the deaths of my wife and children carefully. I have also suspected the world government, but these speculations alone are untenable. I have captured countless pirates in my life and targeted my family. It's not like there are no human ones. Li Yan, in the final analysis, it's still your fault. You are like a Superman with a shortcoming, kindness. If you kill pirates without sparing your hands, your family may be safe. Zephyr, you said you could resurrect my wife and children. I have resigned from the Navy to serve you. Now you can fulfill your promise, right? Li Yan, there is no free lunch in the world. I have many subordinates. I can't break the rules because of you. It's easy to resurrect your wife and children. Work for me for 2 years. After 2 years, I will resurrect your wife and children. Ain questioned, what if you regret it in 1 or 2 years? What if you can't do it in 1 or 2 years? Li Yan was not annoyed. He turned his eyes and took a closer look at Ain. She had long, smooth, ocean blue wavy hair, and was wearing a purple vest and black shorts. She was a beauty. Li Yan was not very interested in her, but she is very interested in her devil fruit. The Superman regression fruit is a superpower fruit that has a certain relationship with time. As long as Li Yan obtains this power, won't he be able to resurrect Zephyr's wife and children? After the Noe Navy was established, Ain claimed that the age of things touched will go back 12 years, and the age of people touched will also go back 12 years. If touched multiple times, it may disappear. This ability is also effective on things other than living things. It can make them regress to the state they were in 12 years ago. The only way to release the regressed state is to defeat the ability user. In Li Yan's eyes, although it can only regress, it is indeed a good ability. From a demonic level, this fruit can make people immortal. However, the current Ain is an ordinary naval cadet, not the Ain who developed the fruit ability to a certain extent when Zephyr established the Noe Navy 10 years later. Li Yan asked Ain, are you a devil fruit user? Yes. Li Yan, as long as you surrender to me, I can resurrect Zephyr's wife and children now. No, Zephyr yelled. He would never let his students pay so much for himself. Binz also thought that Li Yan was interested and pulled Ain behind him. Li Yan smiled sarcastically. You misunderstood. I meant to work for me like teacher Zephyr. I am a very dedicated person in my relationship. Besides, I have 3 wives. Binz and Zephyr were relieved. Ain has seen through Li Yan and feels that he is a scumbag. Have you ever seen that dedicated man who has 3 wives? If Li Yan knew about it, Li Yan would definitely respond. Look at that person who is not interested in money. Why is Mao so rich? The boss who set small goals said he had nothing. Ain is confused. In this case, we are here with teacher Zephyr anyway. I am willing to work for you. Now please resurrect Teacher Zepha's wife and children. Li Yan did not receive the system prompt. Li Yan lied to Ain and said, "Can you be more formal? As a social person like me, I have to show my face. For example, I am willing to surrender to you and work for you. I hope you can accept it and follow this template. Come once." Ain had no choice but to follow Li Yan's words and said again. Although Li Yan is suspected of fraud, the FBI in the United States cannot catch me. Beep. New follower detected. Dip. You get all the abilities of the follower. Name. Ain. Ability. Devil Fruit Retrograde Fruit. Evaluation. My strength is mediocre, but my waist is thin, my legs are long, and I have a pretty face. I'm a good candidate for promotion. Acquire the abilities Time Rewind, Naval 6 Styles, Armed Hockey, Information Hockey, Basic Swordsmanship. Li Yan said to Zepha, "Tomorrow, take me to the place where your wife and children were killed. I will resurrect them, but after resurrecting them, you must also surrender to me." Zepha was determined. "As long as you resurrect my wife and children, I am willing." Li Yan looked at Zepha and said, "You are strong on the sea, but you are very weak in the kingdom of God." After speaking, Li Yan put the cow spell into Zepha's body, giving Zepha infinite power, and put the pig charm into Zepha's body and give him the power of laser eyes. And Li Yan gave Zepha the ox talisman. This ox talisman can make human power infinite. This talisman has a characteristic. The stronger the person, the stronger the increase. Ordinary people using the ox talisman may increase their power by 10 times, but a physical warrior like Zepha would have at least 100 times more strength, and pig talisman's laser eyes made up for Zepha's weakness of no long-range attacks. Ain is now my new follower. Although she is not strong, she has gained the ability to rewind time. This ability cannot rewind the time of the entire plane, but it can rewind the time in a certain area, and she has huge energy. As long as you use your own energy to activate it, the regression time should be able to reach decades or even hundreds of years. Li Yan, let's go back to Kongdao. A portal was opened, and several people came to the empty island. When Shanks saw Zepha, he still couldn't believe that both the admiral and the pirate had joined the kingdom of gods. Li Yan, let me introduce you, Zepha, who will be the Hercules of the kingdom of God from now on. Zepha also saw Shanks, and he was deeply impressed by Shanks, because Shanks was not only an intern on Roger's ship, but Roger the Pirate King gave him his hat, and this the guy is doing well. Li Yan introduced. Shanks, you should know, don't underestimate Shanks. Although he is very young, his own strength is comparable to the 3 generals of the Navy, and I gave him the power of fire. Now Shanks is the god of fire in the kingdom of God, he is an absolute strong man in this sea. That young man is Enel, the god of thunder in the kingdom of God. He himself is a user with the ability of the natural thunder fruit, but his physical skills are slightly weaker. Zepha, you can teach him when you have time. Not to mention Shanks and Enelu, Zepha was already shocked. These two have the qualifications to become top powerhouses. Now that they have been strengthened by Li Yan, their strength and potential will be greatly improved. Look, it's no small feat to come to the kingdom of God. Then Li Yan introduced his 3 wives, the goddess of death, the god of angels and the queen of Wanda. At this time Zepha asked, "What is the purpose of the existence of our kingdom of gods?" Now that he has boarded the pirate ship, he wants to be mentally prepared in advance to see the purpose of Li Yan and his group gathering together. Li Yan, it's very simple. Kill all the bad guys, from the celestial dragons and the 5 old stars to the pirates and thieves. As long as the heinous crime is overturned, we will kill him. Zepha nodded. He didn't kill pirates before, but now he no longer has that kindness that shouldn't exist. Ain is also very disdainful of pirates, and she also fully agrees with Li Yan's approach. As for Binzi, in Li Yan's eyes he is just transparent. And Li Yan doesn't intend to leave his subordinates idle. I have been working very hard all day long. Shanks and the others have been singing and dancing every day. They have a lot of fish and meat, especially Grandma. I am the boss, so I don't feel like it anymore. Work for subordinates. Taking advantage of the abundant time and complete personnel, he began to form an army. In the world of One Piece, people's physical fitness is extremely high. Pure physical warriors like Garp, Zepha, and Shanks all have the ability to destroy the world. In the Marvel world, he is definitely a nuclear bomb level powerhouse. One person can easily destroy a city. According to the technology of the United States, although many weapons can cause damage to these physical powerhouses, if these are used in the city, weapons can definitely damage the enemy 1,000 times and damage oneself 800. Therefore, Li Yan plans to expand the area of the empty island into a continent, completely move it to his own shadow kingdom, and then take away hundreds of thousands to millions of people and train strong people to work for him. Even if there is no devil fruit, but the physical skills, domineering, sword skills, spear skills, etc. here are all good. He now handed over thousands of guards from Sky Island to Zephyr for formal training, and named them the Noe Navy. He also appointed Zephyr as the chief instructor of the Kingdom of God and the Noe Navy Admiral. He can also be called the Navy Admiral in ordinary times. It is to hold the position of Marshal. Although the number of people is small now, the road must be walked step by step and the food must be eaten one bite at a time. As for Shanks, he has good swordsmanship and can fight against Hawkeye Mahawk, who is known as the world's greatest swordsman. Li Yan plans to let him teach the soldiers swordsmanship and give him thousands of shadow soldiers to let him guarding the Kingdom of God and being the head security guard. His personality is not suitable for important work. This guy Nero is a bit difficult to deal with. He is not old and not very strong. Except for his special ears, everything else is mediocre. But fortunately, this guy can fly, so let him serve as an air force or something. Let everyone get acquainted with each other. Now that the Kingdom of God has 3 good subordinate thugs, Li Yan decided to start making trouble, but before making trouble, he must first complete what he promised Zephyr. Late at night, Zephyr, Ain and Binz were on a beach, lighting a bonfire and talking to each other. Zephyr is very grateful to these 2 students who support him, but he can't help but worry about their future. In the Navy, the students he graduated from were all elites in the Navy no matter where they were. But in the Kingdom of God, he found that even Ben Beckman, the former vice captain of the red-haired pirates, had not been reused. Don't mention these 2 disciples of yours. Ain, teacher Zephyr, Binz and I will work hard, you don't have to worry about us. Zephyr, I plan to accept you 2 as my adopted daughters and sons. Ain and Binz know that this is Zephyr helping them. Now Zephyr is the 3rd person in Li Yan's hands. When the Kingdom of God develops, Zephyr's status will also rise. If she becomes Zephyr's adopted daughter and adopted son, their future paths will be much smoother. Li Yan kissed Bados's red lips, felt Wanda's body temperature, listened to Hela's gasping, and looked at Wanda's blurred eyes. Life was so beautiful. The next day, Zephyr got up early. In fact, he stayed up all night. He was so excited that it was hard to express. Today, he could make up for the biggest regret in his life. After Li Yan got up, he found Zephyr. Under Zephyr's leadership, everyone came to the sea area where Zephyr's wife and children had an accident. Although 13 years have passed since the incident, if my child were still alive, he would be 17 years old now. Li Yan, are you sure it's this sea area? Zephyr nodded heavily. This is right here. I have been here countless times in my dreams. Li Yan, okay, just calm down and you will be able to make up for your regrets soon. After saying that, Li Yan activated the ability to rewind time. Time in the entire sea area became extremely unstable. Countless pictures flashed by and countless ships came and went. Soon, the ship that Zephyr's wife and son were on appeared. Li Yan paused time. This process consumed a lot of energy. He only felt that the energy in his body was passing rapidly. In just a few minutes, at least 1/3 of the energy in his body was consumed. The gap between this skill and the time stone was very large. Obviously, the time gem uses the energy of the gem to travel through time, while the retrograde fruit can only use its own energy, so if the energy is not enough, it is easy to lose all previous efforts. The picture was frozen, and Li Yan activated his ability. He wanted to pull Zephyr's wife and children out of the slideshow played back at this time. When Li Yan injected huge energy into Zephyr's wife and children, and used his spiritual power to protect them, because they were in the past time, if they wanted to come to the present, they needed to pass through the time barrier and the powerful time storm. Shen will be cut into pieces. Fortunately, Li Yan's body is rich in energy. If it were anyone else, even if he could go back in time, he would not be able to rescue Zephyr's wife and children. Pulling people back from the past time, removing the ability to go back in time, everything around them is restored. Zephyr looked at his wife and children and was very excited now. More than 10 years later, his wife and children were resurrected. Zephyr walked forward quickly and hugged his wife and son tightly in his arms. His appearance was much older, but his wife and children were still the same as he remembered them, without any change. The moment his hands touched the body temperature of their mother and children, the tears in the corners of Zephyr's eyes could no longer stop, like rushing. The spring water, who knows the suffering in his heart these years? His wife and children were still a little confused. They had just been attacked by pirates, and then were pulled here by a mysterious force. Fortunately, Zephyr was here, but why was Zephyr so old and still holding her and crying? Cry loudly. Li Yan opened the portal and sent Zephyr's family of 3 back to the empty island. He knew that Zephyr had a lot to say to his wife and children. More than 10 years of longing and suffering ended at this moment. Zephyr's regrets can be made up for. He, Shanks, and Enel stayed here to wander around, looking for pirates to practice their skills. Have some fun. Fortunately, all 3 of them can fly. The 3 of them bumped around like headless flies on the sea, but a blind cat can also encounter a dead mouse. A pirate ship was approaching. After looking at the pirate flag, Shanks said he had never heard of it. Li Yan simply and rudely landed directly on the pirate ship. Who? A group of pirates immediately surrounded them. Li Yan asked, "What kind of pirate group are you? Boy, have you never heard of our Iron Hand pirates?" Li Yan thought about it carefully and confirmed that he had never heard of it. It seemed that this was a group of pirates who were part of the gang. After looking at the appearance of these guys, they were really awesome. They were all tall and thick, with fat heads and big ears. They were obviously not going to survive. Character in 1 episode. Li Yan shook his head. "Where is your captain? Boy, what kind of look are you looking at? How dare you look down on us? Come on, brothers, and chop him to death." Before he finished speaking, the group of pirates rushed up with weapons. Li Yan and the 3 of them looked at each other and smiled. These guys were in a hurry to get on their way. There was really no other way. Eniru fired a lightning attack, which directly turned a person into ashes. When the other pirates saw this, they quickly stopped and looked at the dark pile on the deck. They were at a loss for a moment. At this time, there was a loud shout. "You are looking for death. You are so noisy that you don't even want to live anymore. It's bad, the captain is angry." A sturdy man 4 meters tall slowly walked out of the cabin. When he came to the deck, he saw his subordinates and Li Yan standing opposite each other. Okay, he saw a pile of black ash on the deck. What the hell? Who is cleaning today? Didn't you see such a big pile of dust? A pirate on the side whispered. "Captain, that's Bleeker." "Blick, fart, when did I ask Blick to clean the house? Remember, Blick is the deputy captain and my best brother. By the way, where are Blick and others? And who are the 3 of them?" The pirate kid next to me was almost crying. "Captain, I mean, that pile of ashes is First Officer Bleeker, who was killed by those 3 men." I said, "Why does this pile of ashes look so familiar to me?" It turns out to be Blick. "What, Blick is dead?" "Yes, Captain, those 3 guys suddenly boarded our ship and killed the deputy captain Blick when they got on board." Li Yan and others looked at this group of pirates with worrying IQs, and couldn't help but sigh. There are really quite a lot of good and bad pirates in this sea. This is the captain of the Iron Hand pirates, Findes. Because his right hand was cut off, he wore an iron glove. This guy was good at boxing, so he gave himself the nickname Iron Hand. Seeing his good brother Blick dead, Findes was instantly furious. "Asshole, I want you guys to die." He is tall and strong, with a bounty of 800 million yuan. He is a ruthless man who commits crimes by burning, killing, looting, and doing all kinds of evil. He is very suitable for Li Yan's goal of eradicating him. Findes trotted towards Li Yan and the others, charging up his iron fist with his right hand, and smashed it towards Shanks. Shanks would get used to him, so he immediately raised his fist to fight with him. Boom! What? Findes and Shanks punched each other, and his iron hand was immediately scrapped. His arm was also fractured in an instant under the action of the huge force. The intense pain made him scream continuously. Li Yan was quite disgusted with the noise he made, so he fired an energy beam and smashed Findes's head into pieces. Now the entire pirate ship is very quiet. These pirates dare not breathe. Bring all your valuables to the deck, and if I am satisfied, I will make my fortune and not my life, or you all go and accompany your captain." Many pirates went to move boxes and cabinets, looking for the treasures of the captain and deputy captain. Soon, several piles of things were piled on the deck. One pile was Bailey, probably more than 1,000 million, and a small pile was gold and things made of silver must have been collected from everywhere. The other pile was weapons, including the captain's sword and many firearms. Li Yan summoned a few shadow soldiers to move the gold, silver and Bailey away. He didn't like the rest, so he might as well get some money. "Why are you so poor? You have robbed a lot of villages, right?" One of the pirates said solemnly. "Our captain has squandered a lot of money. Every time he goes ashore, he will squander it. We subordinates are not doing well. Don't be too little. We can continue to rob. As long as you spare us, we are willing to work as cows and horses for you." Li Yan grinned and said, "No, no, I don't need you to be a cow or a horse. Tell me, how does it feel to be a pirate?" "Yes, yes, the purpose of our going to sea is to be free pirates. Being a pirate is much better than farming or working as a worker at home. We don't have to work at all. We eat and drink well every day and grab whatever we need." "What?" Shanks was a little angry. "Bah, you trash, you don't deserve to be called pirates at all." The pirates were not happy when they heard this. "What did you say? Do you know how many villages we have robbed? Do you know how many people we have killed? Why are we not worthy of being pirates anymore?" Li Yan signaled Shanks to stop arguing with these guys. Li Yan and the others soared into the sky and left the pirate ship. "Phew, finally left. I was scared to death. The captain and first officer are both dead. What should we do?" Not waiting for the pirates to be happy for how long. A huge fireball fell from the sky. Boom! The pirate ship was blown to pieces, and all the pirates died in the sea. "Li Yan, how about Shanks? Only a small number of pirates are good, most of them are real robbers and villains." Shanks lowered his head and said nothing. He knew that Li Yan was right. A real man in the sea doesn't even bother to commit robbery. These garbage should really be killed. Looking at the bombed and shattered ships, Li Yan felt a little happy. The garbage was buried in the sea. It was deserved. Enelu asked, "Are we still looking for pirates at sea?" "We went to the tavern in Windmill Village to have a drink. It's owned by Shanks' old friend," Li Yan said. Shanks quickly denied, "Makino and I are just ordinary friends." Li Yan patted Shanks on the shoulder and said in a serious tone, "You are already 27. If you don't even have a girlfriend, then don't go out and join the society. It's a shame." He opened the portal and came to Windmill Village. On the seaside of Windmill Village, a dog-headed warship docked at the pier. In Maginot's tavern, Li Yan and the others pushed open the door and entered. Maginot looked at Shanks and smiled instantly. "Shanks, long time no see. Luffy keeps saying that he wants to go to sea and become a pirate." Shanks was also extremely happy. "Haha, Maginot, you look beautiful again. There are a lot of guests in the tavern today." Li Yan, "Hello, Maginot, where is Luffy? Why isn't he here?" Maginot, "Mr. Garp is back and is playing with Luffy in the back mountain." When Li Yan heard this, "Oh, Garp is back. Shanks, you have to be careful. You are Luffy's leader. Garp doesn't want to kill you, does he?" Shanks smiled slightly and said, "Luffy is not suitable to be a marine. He is the heir to the Pirate King. He will become the freest man on the sea." A scene of a kind father and a filial son is being staged in the back mountain. "Both of you become marines for me," Garp yelled. "No, we don't want to be navy, we want to be pirates," the two little ones said stubbornly. Bang, bang, Luffy and Ace each had a big bag on their heads. The pain was so painful that both of them were about to shed tears. Luffy was still unconvinced. "I want to be the Pirate King." Boom. Garp was very angry. Originally, his grandson was fine, but he didn't pay attention, and was actually led to bad things by that Shanks. Now he hates it all the way to his teeth. Li Yan drank a glass of sake and chatted for a while in the tavern. "Let's go to the back mountain to see Garp and Luffy." The three of them got up and went to the back mountain, where they found the bandit Dayton's family. Boom, boom, Li Yan knocked on the door. Squeak. A tall, rough, and fierce man-in-law appeared in front of Li Yan and the others. "Who are you?" What's going on? Li Yan asked politely. Is Luffy here? Dayton showed a fierce look. What's the matter with you? Li Yan knew that the bandit Dayton's family looked very fierce on the outside, but they were very kind to Luffy and Ace. The family was very kind at heart. Dayton was also very painful after Ace died during the war, and even blamed Garp. He refused to save him, which shows that the Dayton family is still very good people. Otherwise, Garp wouldn't have left Luffy in their care. Shanks stood up and said, I'm Luffy's friend, Shanks, and I'm here to see Luffy. Huh, you are the pirate Shanks. I advise you to stay away. Mr. Garp is very angry now. If he touches you. Dayton hasn't finished speaking yet. With a bang sound, the door was closed tightly. Shanks. Luffy shouted happily. Shanks, I finally found you, Garp said angrily. Li Yan and the others looked back, and saw Garp holding a child in one hand, standing behind Li Yan and the others. Garp, you Shanks, you dare to seduce my grandson, you shall die. Before he finished speaking, Garp threw Luffy and Ace to the ground, waved his fist and rushed towards Shanks. Faced with Garp's full punch, Shanks in the past may not have been a match for Capdu, but you have to know that Shanks is only 27 years old now. But after being strengthened by Li Yan, Shanks possesses the power of fire. Not only does his attack method become more diverse, but his physical fitness has also been greatly improved. Shanks ducked and appeared in front of Garp, stretched out his hand to grab Garp's fist, and forced Garp to stop. Garp, you kid, you've made a lot of progress. But if you want to challenge me, you're still far away. Garp's fists hit Shanks like violent raindrops. The soles of Shanks' feet were on fire and he jumped into the air, flying in the air. Garp was even more surprised. Have you eaten a devil fruit? Is it a natural type of burning fruit? Shanks shook his head. Lieutenant General Garp, watch your move, Fire Dragon Flame Explosion. Shanks threw a huge fireball towards Garp. Garp easily dodged, then jumped up, waving his dark fist, and hit Shanks. Shanks didn't dodge. He also wanted to know what his strength was. Today he met Garp and it was just a good time to test it. Boom! The fists of the two collided, making a loud noise, and the resulting impact airflow blew down the surrounding trees. The two of them also took a few steps back. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. When Roger and I fought, you were still a little kid. Shanks did not refute. Garp was indeed both enemy and friend of his captain. When he saw Garp and Roger fighting, the scene was still fresh in his memory. Garp was holding fire in his heart and wanted to teach Shanks a lesson, so he accumulated strength here, popped out with a swish sound, and pointed his iron fist directly at Shanks. Li Yan flashed directly in front of Garp and grabbed Garp's fist tightly in his hand. No matter how hard Garp tried, he couldn't pull it back. Garp calmed down and looked at Li Yan's unfamiliar face. Surprised. Who are you? It seems you are not one of Shanks' crew. Li Yan let go of Garp's fist. Lieutenant General Garp, I want to talk to you alone. After saying that, he walked straight into the woods. Garp glanced at Shanks and said. Shanks smiled. That's my new boss, he has no ill intentions towards you. The two walked a long way and came to a quiet and flat place. Li Yan found a fallen tree, sat on its thick trunk, and used magic to create a soundproof barrier. Lieutenant General Garp, you should have heard of me. I am now Zephyr and Shanks' immediate boss. What? You are the liar. Li Yan glanced at him. Do I look like a liar? I have already done what I promised Zephyr. I believe it won't be long before you can meet Zephyr's family of 3. Garp expressed doubts about Li Yan's words, but he was even more curious about Li Yan's purpose of coming to him. Boy, why are you here? Li Yan said calmly. Let me tell you a story. Garp, I'm not interested. If you're fine, I'll leave. Li Yan, the story I told will happen verbatim a few years later. Are you sure you don't want to hear it? Garp's curiosity was aroused and he sat down obediently. Li Yan, the name of the story is called War on the Top. The protagonist of this story is your grandson Ace. Let's keep the story short. In a few years, 17-year-old Ace will go to sea as a pirate. By chance, he got the natural burning fruit. Ace's talent is very high, and he has developed the fruit ability quite well. After wandering around in the sea, he became slightly famous and won the title of Fire Fist Ace. Haha, you are my grandson after all. Li Yan had a dark look on his face. I remember that when Garp saw Luffy's bounty order, he laughed loudly and said similar words. Sengoku was so angry that he almost died suddenly. Li Yan continued. Later, Ace met the strongest man in the world, Edward Newgate, and then he joined the Whitebeard Pirates, and was deeply respected and loved by Whitebeard. He became the third member of the Whitebeard Pirates. The captain of the second team became the core figure of the Whitebeard Pirates, and he got along well with Whitebeard's other sons. Ace spent a good time in the Whitebeard Pirates. Haha, my grandson has become Whitebeard's son, so Whitebeard has become my son. Ace has done a good job in this matter. Li Yan didn't want to talk anymore. But the Whitebeard Pirates were not as peaceful as they seemed. Later, a traitor appeared in the Whitebeard Pirates. He called himself Blackbeard, named Marshall D. Teach. He has been hiding his strength and lurking under Whitebeard. The pirate group was only looking for the devil fruit that they dreamed of. Afterwards, the four teams faced off against the leader Saki. When they fought against the nameless pirate group again, they obtained the devil fruit. Marshall D. Teach could not hold back. He directly killed Saki, stole the fruit, and started his escape journey. Marshall D. Teach is an insidious and cunning guy. He once fought against Shanks and left 3 scratches on Shanks' face. Marshall D. Teach's actions angered Whitebeard and other pirate members. Whitebeard ordered the hunt for Marshall D. Teach. Sage and Ace are very good brothers. In order to avenge Sage, Ace began to hunt down Marshall D. Teach, but in the end, Ace was too weak and was captured by Blackbeard. Because Marshall D. Teach knew that Ace was the blood of Roger, he sent Ace to the Navy headquarters. He wanted to use Ace to make Whitebeard and the Navy fight. After discussion, the Warring States period decided to execute Ace. What? Garp gritted his teeth angrily and cursed that Teach was nothing. Li Yan ignored him and continued to tell the story. Then the Whitebeard Pirates declared war on the Navy. They wanted to rescue Ace, and an epic battle broke out at the Navy headquarters, Marinavando. As for the Navy, the 3 generals of the Navy plus Sengoku were in charge, and they forcibly recruit the Shichibukai, plus tens of thousands of elite Navy soldiers. The Whitebeard Pirates. Whitebeard brought all his captains and all the New World pirates to the Navy headquarters. There are 10,000 people in total. Although the Navy won this battle, the price paid was also very heavy. Whitebeard Edward Newgate and Firefist Ace both died at the Navy headquarters. In the end, red-haired Shanks came forward to prevent the war from expanding in scale. After listening to Li Yan's words, Garp fell into deep thought. Ace is still young and cannot make any waves at all. He can hide him, but he cannot hide him for a lifetime. Once Ace's identity is exposed, he will face the full pursuit of the Navy and the world government. It's going to be troublesome now. After the plot was almost told, it was time to deceive Garp, an old comrade. Li Yan then continued to make up. Your grandson Luffy was deeply affected after Ace died. His character became violent and cruel. He swore that he was incompatible with the Navy. He became a heinous pirate who specifically opposed the Navy and attacked many places around the Navy. The branch base had a great impact on the Navy. Finally, the Navy launched a demon-slaying order against Luffy, dispatching 2 generals and 10 lieutenant generals, as well as 50 naval warships, to surround Luffy. At the critical moment, your son, Ryudai, when Sabo appeared and rescued Luffy, the Revolutionary Army and the Navy also started a fierce battle. After this incident, the Navy and the world government diverted their attention and regarded the Revolutionary Army as their #1 enemy. Oh, by the way, there is also Blackbeard Marshall D. Teach. Because he is one of the culprits who killed Ace, Luffy has been chasing him, but the young Luffy has suffered a lot at his hands. After hearing this, Garp looked even more sad. It is true that except for himself, who is a Marine, the other 2 members of his family have to fight against the world government. Having been a Navy all his life, he knows the virtues of the world government, but there are not even 1,000 but 800 people who want to go against the world government, and few succeed. Individual. Looking at Garp, who was not talking at the side, Li Yan continued to cheat. Li Yan, Lieutenant General Garp, actually you don't have to worry. I established the kingdom of God to completely subvert everything on the sea. Soon, there will be no more pirates in this world, let alone with the celestial dragons and the world government. I want to build an equal, peaceful, stable and prosperous world. Garp shook his head. After decades of naval career, He knew that since the world government can command the navy, it relies on strength, otherwise the righteous men in the navy would have rebelled long ago. You are very strong, much stronger than me, but you cannot fight against the world government alone. Give up, kid. Haha, the world government is not as good as an ant in my eyes. If you don't believe it, I can show it to you. Li Yan not only wants to show Garp how powerful he is, he also wants the whole world to know how powerful he is. Body of the divine dragon. In an instant, Li Yan transformed into an ancient dragon like the star dragon King Thor, but he controlled his body shape and did not fully appear. A golden dragon appeared in the pirate world. His scales were extremely large. Incomparable, there are countless golden scales all over his body, each one is the size of an island. His body stretches for countless thousands of miles, from the East China Sea windmill village to the Navy headquarters Marineland, to the Four Seas, the Windless Belt, Wano country, etc. Everywhere, you can see this huge golden body in the sky. No one can see its whole picture, some can see the huge claws, some can only see the endless body, but everyone knows that this is a great dragon. All the animals are prostrate on the ground, surrendering like kings, and all the sea kings are swimming desperately towards the deep sea. Countless people rushed out of the house and looked at the great miracle in the sky. Naval headquarters. What is that? The three Navy generals shook their heads when they heard Sengoku's inquiry. Kizaru. If he falls, the world will be crushed by him. Holy Land Jomaria. The 5 old stars were so shocked that they lost their ability to think. Everyone is shocked and scared. Garp was completely shocked. He had been in the sea for decades and had never seen such a battle before. Li Yan's huge dragon head faced Garp, and his eyes as big as the sun and the moon looked directly at him. Li Yan raised his head, and a roar sounded. Everyone's scalps were numb from the shock, and most people collapsed to the ground. Even the top experts on the sea needed to use all their strength to survive this terrifying threat. Press down and stay standing. The huge body in the sky made people feel suffocated. Everyone held their breath, and the pirate world fell into a brief silence. Even the elephant owner, the largest animal in the pirate world, is like an ant in front of Li Yan. Many people used to think that after Kaido transformed, he was already very huge and could be regarded as a giant dragon. However, in front of Li Yan, he seemed like an earthworm on a fishhook, while Li Yan was like a whale in the deep sea. Their sizes were unknown. The difference is tens of thousands of times. The huge gap between mortals and gods is like an abyss. Mortals, I am the great king of the gods and the kingdom of God. Now, I come to the mortal world with the grace of God. I will punish sin, kill all evil, bring peace, stability, and prosperity, and I will build a new order. Anyone who dares to prevent divine grace from coming to the world will have their heads crushed by me. Li Yan's words, like the roar of thunder, reached everyone's ears clearly. Now, I will give you God's first grace. Li Yan activated the power of the horse talisman, and his golden and huge body emitted a wave of energy. This energy wave contained the terrifying healing power of the horse talisman. Yes, in the first step, Li Yan decided to show his magic power. His grace is so great that he wants to heal everyone's injuries and disabilities, so that everyone in the world can experience God's grace. Only by experiencing it personally can we know the power of Li Yan. Besides, doing this will have great benefits. Countless common people will completely mythologize Li Yan, and countless people who were saved by him will be grateful to him and become his believers. Countless people's diseases have been cured, and countless disabled people have regained their lives. They kowtow to the giant dragon in the sky, thinking that this is the savior and the real God. Even Whitebeard has been cured of his hidden injuries and restored to his peak strength. The golden lion's severed legs also grew back, and countless miracles were performed in the world of pirates. In the second step, he will let the world know what divine power is, and anyone who resists will be crushed. After saying these words, Li Yan shrank his body and returned to his original appearance. Needless to say now, Garp also knows Li Yan's strength. Li Yan, Mr. Garp, the sea will become very stable and peaceful in the future, but I think this is not a good thing for Luffy and Ace. They are very talented and like to take risks. If they can only read in books, knowing the wonderful adventure stories of my fathers is an oppression to them. There will never be an era of great pirates or an era of extreme evil in this world. I will take away a group of people who like adventure and chaos. in the future, the pirate world will become extremely peaceful, and they will not be happy for the rest of their lives if they stay here. Garp understands what Li Yan means. To be honest, he knows that the chaotic sea has given birth to countless strong people. However, once the threat is lost and they become comfortable, the number of strong people will decrease sharply. After Li Yan had prepared for such a long time, he thought it was time to end the mission quickly. He will transform into a god and send countless shadow soldiers to cooperate with the Navy and the Revolutionary Army to eradicate all pirates, celestial dragons, and those who do evil things. Naval Headquarters. The Warring States period was in a meeting and received an order from Wu Laoxing to ask the Navy to fully cooperate with the world government. They wanted to investigate Li Yan's origin and strength. The Navy will now stop arresting any pirates and all return to base, Sengoku announced the order of the world government. Akainu, one of the three generals, was a little angry. That dragon only said it would destroy the world government, not the Navy. There is no need for us to listen to the world government. I think Akainu is right. A portal opened, and Li Yan walked out with Garp, Shanks and Enelu. Li Yan glanced around, and no one dared to look at him. Very good, the Navy is very aware of current affairs. Marshal Warring States, now gather all the troops and let's attack the Holy Land of Jo Maria. There was also a war between heaven and man in the Warring States period. Although Li Yan was very strong, this suddenly made him switch sides. He was not prepared at all. Garp, you didn't know to get the news in advance. Garp saw that Sengoku was hesitant. Warring States, give the order. Let's kill those fools. Gaining support from Garp, Sengoku is also determined. Pass the order. From now on, the Navy will separate from the world government, obey the orders of the Kingdom of Gods, the King of Gods, assemble all the Navy, and wait for the next instruction. The three generals fully support the decision of the Warring States period. No matter what the world government does, it is time to change the world. Stand in the right team, get promoted and make a fortune, stand in the wrong position, and die without a burial place. Li Yan looked at Warring States. He was a talented person with good strength and ability to lead. The most important thing was that he was very aware of current affairs. In an instant, he became the supreme commander who legally controls the Navy. Very good, Warring States continues to serve as the Marshal of the Navy, and Zephyr and Garp are added to the general positions. Now we set out to attack the Holy Land, eliminate the Tianlong people, completely eradicate these cancers of the world, and restore the happiness and well-being of the people. At the naval headquarters, Li Yan opened several portals leading to the Holy Land. Countless soldiers arrived at the Holy Land through the portals and confronted the Holy Land's defense forces. Although there are many Tianlong people, most of them are drunkards, but the 5 old stars are not given for free, and the Yimu behind them is even more mysterious. In the entire pirate world, there are really few people who know the existence of Yimu. But in Li Yan's eyes, it is still unknown how strong I am can be and whether he can match one of his fingers. Did I overestimate him? As the Navy's assembly was completed, tens of thousands of sailors at the naval headquarters all appeared in the Holy Land of Jo Maria. And Li Yan specially asked Warring States and others to arrange a live broadcast of the entire world. When the 5 old stars walked out of the Holy Land, Lord I Am would not take action until the critical moment. Moreover, the strength of each of the 5 old stars was one of the best in the sea. No one knew how long these guys had lived. Sengoku, you betrayed the world government, just like a naughty dog betraying its master. Now we give you a chance to change your ways, turn the gun, and let us forget the past. The Warring States period laughed in anger. Our Navy has killed countless sailors for the stability of the sea. Do you think they are just dogs guarding the house? Today you, a group of high-ranking world worms, should pay the price. The 3 Navy generals also showed angry faces, and the grumpy Akainu roared. It's you trash who have failed the Navy's justice again and again. Today your death day has come. Seeing Akainu furious, to be honest, Li Yan admires Akainu, a tough and stubborn soldier, but this is the Navy with the most righteous heart. The absolute justice he pursues coincides with Li Yan. On the contrary, neither Huang Yuan nor Qing Pheasant is Li Yan's favorite. These 2 guys fish at work until they get off work, and fish when they have nothing to do after work. Anyway, he feels that these 2 guys should have been fishermen in their previous lives, otherwise why would he like them so much? Fishing. The situation at the scene is very tense. As long as Li Yan gives the order, the two sides will start a fierce battle. However, it is not Li's character not to show off at critical moments. But now, the world live broadcast is going on, and at least 80.00% of the people in the pirate world are paying attention to this battle. Li Yan plans to have a live broadcast to create a god. Li Yan stretched out his palm and injected the flame demonic energy and dragon talisman into Akainu's body. Akainu, who was originally a user with the ability of the lava fruit, was instantly covered and surrounded by flames, burning with raging fire. The flames turned from red to blue, and the temperature reached terrifying degrees. The ground under his feet was also melted by the flames on his body and turned into magma. Now Akainu can spit out high-temperature flames from his mouth and launch flames to attack. After possessing the dragon talisman, he can shoot out extremely powerful explosive flames. In the meteor volcano combined with his own lava fruit, each drop the lava blocks that came down are all powerful bombs. Akainu's strength has improved a lot. Now he can overthrow the Holy Land by himself. The next one is the General Kuzan. As a user with the frozen fruit ability, Li Yan gave him the ability of the water demon Bazar to control the sea. Kuzan can use seawater to attack and change the water into different shapes to attack, such as water ball bombs or water ball bombs. The hammer can control water at will, trigger tsunamis and create floods. It can fire high-pressure water guns with both hands, and can also absorb water. It can liquefy itself into water. When it turns into liquid, it can deform at will and sneak underground. In conjunction with its freezing ability, he is simply the real god of the sea. What is even more terrifying is that now any fruit ability user will be suppressed by him, but he is already immune to sea water. The next one is General Kizaru, whose salary has been paid and the 4 emperors have been defeated. Li Yan didn't have any good way to match Kizaru's sparkling fruit, so Li Yan had no choice but to give the demonic energy of the sky demon to Kizaru, switching between day and night, controlling the sky weather, changing the sky color, and creating all kinds of clouds. This is the ability of the sky's demonic energy. Now the 3 generals of the navy have been strengthened by Li Yan. In the world of pirates, countless people have seen this scene. The 3 generals of the navy are already strong. After this strengthening, the admiral has no opponent. Whitebeard pirates. Edward Newgate sat in his chair and watched the changes in the 3 generals during the live broadcast. His eyes couldn't help but squint. Although he had returned to subversion, his strength seemed to have regressed. The forms on the sea were becoming more and more complex. Tesoro, who had just obtained the devil fruit, watched the live broadcast of the world of the navy. Tears kept falling, and murmured, "Why not earlier? Why not earlier? Stella wouldn't have to die." He quickly wiped away his tears. He once vowed to avenge Stella, but now someone has done it. In his eyes, Li Yan is his benefactor just like the fishman Fisher Tiger who rescued him. Windmill Village. Luffy shouted excitedly, "Shanks, that's Shanks." The Big Mom pirates, Kaido's beast pirates, and countless people are watching the navy siege the Holy Land. Smart people can see that the world is about to change, and the previous era will be ended. The 5 old stars watched Li Yan casually make the 3 generals stronger, and couldn't help but tremble in their hearts. It seemed that Lord I Am must appear in this crisis. Li Yan looked at Garp Warring States. "Do you need it?" The Warring States period said righteously. "Please do this to me." "Okay, I'll give you the power of the earth." Li Yan injected the demonic energy of the earth demon into the Warring States period. With the power of the earth, the Warring States period could control the land, create earthquakes, escape from the earth, create earth walls, have super physical strength, throw stones, split the earth and rejoin it, tear the earth apart with your hands, collapse the earth, bury the enemy with soil, and manipulate the earth to attack. Then Li Yan remembered the magical weapon he obtained after killing Wenwu, the 10 rings. No one is more suitable to own it than Garp, who is good at fists. This weapon is very powerful and can make the owner immortal. It can also increase the power of Garp's fists. The key is that the 10 rings can be fired like cannonballs, so the card can be used for both melee combat and long-range attack. Putting the 10 rings on his arm, Garp felt a surge of energy pouring into his body. With the blessing of the 10 rings, his gray hair turned black, and he changed from a 60-year-old man to a 40-year-old strong man. he exerted force and shattered his shirt, exposing his strong muscles. Ha ha, it feels so good to be young. The 5 old stars can't stay any longer now. The 3 generals of the Navy and warring states Zephyr have been strengthened. How can we fight now? We'd better hurry up and invite Tathagata Buddha. Bah, it's Lord I Am. Li Yan, you think this is the end of it? No, I can still shake people. He opened the portal, summoned Zephyr from the Sky Island, and summoned millions of shadow soldiers. The current scene, except for tens of thousands of Marines, is completely black, with millions of shadowy soldiers, and the Black Sea surrounds the Holy Land. The celestial dragons inside were completely panicked. Many of them still couldn't recognize the form and were still yelling at the Navy for being lowly and daring to betray their master. It must be said that the celestial dragons' IQs were absolutely off the mark. Those with a slightly more normal mind want to hide quickly, wait for the Navy to be defeated, and then come out and act as the victor. It is best to make a Navy admiral as a slave. Li Yan looked around and saw that almost everyone was here, ready to start. Now, start upholding justice and eradicating these scum. Charge. Kill. Wu Laoxing suddenly felt something bad, and now he could only rely on Lord I Am. Stop. A loud shout resounded throughout the audience, and everyone's eyes were looking in the direction of the Holy Land. I saw a slender guy wearing a black hood walking out with a sword in his hand. Li Yan was extremely unhappy. How dare you give me orders? Li Yan flashed and appeared in front of the legendary I Am. He hit his chin hard with an uppercut. The huge force shattered his chin and sent him flying into the air. Then a star collapse roaring cannon was fired from Li Yan's hand, cremating Yi Emu's body alive, shattering his bones and scattering ashes. Wu Laoxing's eyes widened and he couldn't believe that his Lord Yim died like this. Although countless Tianlong people didn't know who the fool who just shouted, "Stop," was, they knew that they were in danger now. Li Yan took action and killed the opponent in seconds, which greatly boosted morale. When the pirates saw Li Yan's strength, they all began to meditate. Many of them disbanded the pirate group on the spot and ran home, vowing never to come out again. Marco asked Whitebeard, "Dad, do we need to prepare anything?" Haha, fighting against someone of that kind of strength is undoubtedly like taking off your pants and sitting on a rock, hitting an egg against a rock. Let's see first and then talk about it. Shanks is the opponent's man, let's find a chance to talk about it. Marco nodded and said nothing. Marshal D. Teach rolled his eyes and had an idea in his mind. He also found a new goal. Following Li Yan would have a better future than following Whitebeard. To be a son to someone is not to be a son. The battle in the Holy Land has become one-sided, and the morale of the Navy is high. Countless Marines broke out in blood, and they also hated the Tianlong people very much. These aloof guys have trampled on the authority of the Navy countless times, trampled on the dignity of civilians countless times, and are even more inhumane. They use slaves for fun and base their happiness on countless people. On top of the pain, every one of these demons living in the Holy Land, not every beast, has many innocent dead souls. The Tianlong Guards and the CP organization were attacked by both the Navy and the Shadow Kingdom soldiers, and were unable to fight back. Countless guards were hacked and chopped into pieces by the swarming soldiers. The god-level combat power strengthened by Li Yan includes Shanks, Zephyr, Aniro, Sengoku, Garp, Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji, a total of 8 people, plus tens of thousands of naval soldiers and millions of shadow soldier. There was no need for Li Yan to take action at all. He sat behind alone, conjuring teapots, tables and chairs, drinking tea leisurely, watching the fighting in front of him, as if he was watching a movie. Suddenly, he felt the feeling of Teacher Saitama. How lonely it is to be invincible. But, I'm richer than that bald guy, and I have a wife. If I'm lonely, I can make little people and give birth to monkeys, haha. Under the siege of many powerful men, Wu Laoxing was quickly defeated, and these people had not yet used their full strength. Li Yan, wait a minute, I want their lives. The 5 people who collapsed on the ground were covered with injuries and their skin was torn. They looked as if they had just been tortured. On the other hand, the Zephyr people, except for the dust on their clothes and a few breaths, none of them were injured. Li Yan waved his hand, and several people floated into the air. Then a wave of immeasurable pressure came from all around, crushing the bones of several people. The scream of, "Ah!" Makes people shudder. Everyone watching the live broadcast held their breath. Are they the rulers of this world, now like a bug, with its limbs crushed to pieces? Li Yan clenched his fist, and the 5 people turned into 5 meatballs, with blood dripping down. Li Yan, go and capture all the Tianlong people. I want to put them on trial and let everyone in the world judge them for their crimes. Seeing that the situation was over, the defenders of the Holy Land gave up resistance and surrendered. Then the Navy and Black Shadow soldiers rushed into the gathering area of Tianlong people and captured all these scum. When the Navy members covered their noses and walked out of the Holy Land, Li Yan was still a little puzzled. But then a stench hit. It turns out that these guys who are usually so pampered are all scared to death. They are either shouting at the top of their lungs or peeing out. Throw these guys into the sea first, wash them clean, and then lock them up. Warring states. Yes, Li Yan grinned, looking at the tens of thousands of Marines, thinking secretly. I want to take some people away, but if I cultivate them slowly, the efficiency is too slow. It is better to report, tens of thousands of slaves found. Warring states suddenly became angry, but when he thought about it, these people became slaves and had nothing to do with the Navy. Li Yan, how are they doing? It's nothing serious. After your previous treatment, everyone has recovered. Enelu, Holy Lord, they are coming to thank you. Even the Navy over there can't stop them. Li Yan, let them come over. Then tens of thousands of Tianlong slaves rushed over and knelt down in front of Li Yan, thanking him for his help. He was the savior and God in everyone's hearts. Li Yan released an energy to help everyone up. Looking at their tattered clothes, although the injuries on his body were healed, the trauma in his heart may not be healed in this life. In a small shabby room, Tezolo fell to his knees, roaring continuously, tears streaming down his face uncontrollably. Did you see it? Freedom for all. Ha! Brother Ming, who was watching the live broadcast, saw the 5 old stars being crushed into meatballs. He couldn't help but let out his signature laughter. Today, the evil in his heart finally came out. The death of the 5 old stars caused the whole sea to boil, and countless people cheered. The world government collapsed. The high gold in the sky and the hateful celestial dragons will no longer exist. After Li Yan came to his senses, he ordered the Navy to return to the headquarters to stand by, and announced to the world that in 7 days, a worldwide live broadcast public trial would be held at the Navy headquarters. The public trial must be based on the principle of justice and fairness, and list the crimes of the criminal one by one. According to the law, he should be shot or buried alive. He would neither kill a fool nor unjustly accuse a bad person. I am also a good example to follow A Feng, and I have done something humane, good people and good deeds. Back to Navy headquarters, warring states and others felt like they were dreaming. Everything today seemed like an illusion. Sengoku, Garp, Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji were in a conference room. There were 4 lieutenant generals guarding the door. No one was allowed to come near. This meeting will determine the future of the Navy. Garp said nothing. This kind of thing was not suitable for him, but he was surprisingly serious. He didn't even eat his favorite senbei. The 3 generals were also silent, but their hearts were not at peace. Warring states looked at a few people. Okay, time is limited. We have to prepare for the public trial in 7 days. Let's talk about it. How do we choose? Garp, Li Yan told me in the East China Sea Windmill Village that he wanted to take my grandson to the kingdom of God. He also planned to take away all the adventurous people to make this sea extremely peaceful and prosperous. Now what he said is coming true step by step. Akainu was so determined that he said, I plan to step down as general and follow the king of the gods. Kizaru was surprised. There won't be pirates in the kingdom of God. How can you show your absolute justice? Akainu said firmly. It's true that I hate pirates, but without pirates, isn't the world peace what we have always wanted to do? Now that it has been achieved, what's wrong with it? I follow Li Yan to become stronger. Think about today, we have worked hard for decades to have such strength. Forget about Shanks, look at Enel, he is so young and has the same strength as us. Akainu's mentality now is that after 20 years of hard work, I am not as good as you, a little fresh meat cared for by a rich woman. Now I can hug my thigh with great difficulty, how can I miss it so easily? Kizaru heard that it made sense, and besides, the sea was really stable, where would they go? just like Rayleigh, and work as coders incognito, or just receive a high pension and live a corrupt life? Warring States sighed. Hey, I think it's better to follow Li Yan. The world has changed and become stable and peaceful. The role of our navy is very limited. Neither Ching Pheasant nor Garp answered the call, but they had already made a choice in their hearts. After all, following Li Yan would allow them to go to the kingdom of God and have the opportunity to continue to become stronger and even gain a longer lifespan. Duan Zai's meeting ended. Although no clear result was agreed upon, the future of the navy was already on Li Yan. Revolutionary Army Long. The world government we have tried so hard to overthrow is so vulnerable. What nonsense are you talking about? That's God. After several days of preparation, the public trial is about to begin. In the past few days, Li Yan had not been idle. He visited the strong men on the sea one by one, gave many self-righteous pirates a hard education, and used physical methods to teach them to behave. Now the venue is gathered. The top combat power in the pirate world, the 3 maritime overlords, the 3 navy generals, the Shichibukai, and some remnants of the old era, the Golden Lion, Rayleigh, etc. If it weren't for Li Yan's pressure, Malinfando would be the Atlantis of this world and would have sunk to the bottom of the sea long ago. The audience at the scene are all kings and nobles from all over the world. There are many evil people among them. Li Yan just wants to let them know and let them see with their own eyes how to deal with these scum. Among the audience who came here today, no one who has committed the heinous crime can escape. In the venue, the Shichibukai were sitting one after another. The first one was Hawkeye Mahawk, known as the world's greatest swordsman. He was the one that Li Yan could not attack. Although this guy was a Shichibukai, he would never rob. All the vegetables he eats are grown by himself. Li Yan even feels that he has been embarrassed by the pirates. You don't do anything wrong, it makes it very difficult for me. The second one is Don Quixote, the former celestial dragon, the underground king of darkness. Needless to say, Doflamingo's crimes are definitely worthy of death. Next to him is Moonlight. Moria, this guy is not a good person. He was buried alive in a while. The fourth one is the tyrant Bartholomew Big Bear, the strong fish man Kaixia Jinbei, and the Empress Boya Hancock. These 3 are not the worst offenders. The Empress also has a bloody feud with the Tianlong people. These guys are safe. Finally, there is Sand Crocodile. This guy, like Brother Ming, will be directly sentenced to death. The Beast's pirates were arranged on the east side of the venue, where Kaido and his subordinates, the 3 disasters, and a group of pirate subordinates with a bounty of hundreds of millions were sitting honestly in the venue, with Kaido wrapped around him. Countless bandages, he stared intently at Li Yan, who was sitting at the front of the venue, trying his best not to tremble. The weak mind of Kaido, the strongest creature, was left with a shadow after being hurt by Li Yan. The Whitebeard pirates are sitting on the west side of the venue. Whitebeard is the leader, and Marco and other captains are sitting behind them. These pirates are all the same, with very serious expressions. On the other hand, Marshal D. Teach, this guy is really powerful. After sending an actor, everyone looked at Li Yan with fear. There was indeed yearning deep in his eyes, so hot that he wished he could take his place. Marshal D. Teach silently calculated whether to kill his father to preach. The Big Mom pirates were arranged next to the Beasts. Although Big Mom's injuries were slightly better than Kaido's, her depressed mental state showed that she was just holding on and was beaten violently by Li Yan. After one meal, it seemed that even her Siraya was getting better. In the Navy, everyone above the Commodore is here. Staff Officer Suru and Magellan, the summer commander of Impel Down, sit in the front row. Alternate Generals Guion and Cake are at the back. The remaining dozens of lieutenant generals and hundreds of major generals are on the 2 sides. After becoming an alternate general, and the venue also arranged a special area, and called some powerful people who were idle and without power to come over to watch the ceremony. With a smile, Kushiro was also among them. Sengoku and Garp, the 3 admirals of the Navy, Shanks, Aniro, Zephyr, plus 100,000 Navy and millions of shadow soldiers, maintain discipline in Marineland. Anyone who causes trouble and disturbs the public trial will be punished, was put to death. In the venue, Li Yan was wearing a black suit and his leather shoes were polished. After being carefully dressed up by the 3 Wanda girls, today was the most handsome day in his history. He was going to give an exciting speech in front of the public. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend this first public trial in history. As the organizer of this conference, I feel very honored. The main target of this public trial is the former Holy Land Chow Maria. The celestial dragons, who claim to be descendants of the Creator, consider themselves to be extremely noble. They enjoy the support of the people of the world, and have done countless things that are worse than pigs and dogs. The world government serves as their protective umbrella, and the law is their restraint on civilians. Weapons, this group of guys who have done all kinds of evil and countless things will be judged today. What I want to say here is that evil in the world can never defeat justice. After listening to Li Yan's speech, the pirates didn't care, but the Navy was full of passion and blood. I really want to stand up and shout, I am sworn in with gambling and drug addiction. Li Yan talked a lot, and finally finished reading the draft written by Ain, and the public trial began. The first team to take the field. The first to die were Saint Roswader, Saint Charos and Saint Cherulia. These three draconians were a family. The whole family was arrogant and cruel, and treated all civilians except the draconians as slaves. Today Li Yan will pronounce their fate. With numerous charges and a large number of slaves being accused in court, the family of three was sentenced to death. Then, the shadow soldiers who received the order escorted the three people out, and what awaited them was the cruelest 5-boat dismemberment. They tied them up, and tied their limbs and heads with a rope each, and tied them to the 5 boats. At the end of the movie, 5 boats launched in 5 directions at the same time, pulling people to pieces and throwing their bodies directly into the sea, where they became food for fish. The trial was very fair and just. No Tianlong person was wronged. Several children who had not done any bad things were also properly placed by Li Yan and handed over to the group of liberated slaves to raise them. The group of slaves cheered instantly, shouting, "Long live Li Yan," and expressed their intention to give Li Yan 1 kowtow. Li Yan sternly refused, saying, "Just 1 kowtow. Is this so insincere? The number of Tianlong people is not very large. There are only a few hundred people in total. Over the past few hundred years, they have paid great attention to blood. The descendants of Tianlong people and Tianlong people or Tianlong people. Li Yan estimates that this has also resulted in many close relatives. Get married, otherwise how could the IQs of the celestial dragons be so low?" After all the Tianlong people were executed on the spot, Li Yan checked the progress of his mission. Hey, Mission 1 is to eliminate a certain number of Tianlong people, and the rewards will be distributed according to the number of people eliminated. Completed, 350 people. Hey, Mission 2, destroy 10 pirate groups. Completed. Hey, Mission 3, kill people with general level combat power, 0 quarters. Completed. Hey, Mission 4, kill 5 people with devil fruit abilities. Completed. Tell me, Mission 5 is to establish a force and achieve a personal bounty of 200 billion. Undone. Except for the last bounty that has not been reached, the others have been completed. Even the task of killing the general's combat power was displayed as completed after killing the 5 old stars. Now I should realize my goal of world unity. He looked at the many pirates, nobles, revolutionary troops, and navy present. Now I declare one thing. There is no need for any more pirates in this sea, and I will not allow any criminal groups to appear. So everyone sitting here, today I let you come to the purpose. One is to witness the world government, the collapse and the destruction of the celestial dragons, the second is your life and death. The crowd looked at each other. Although they have already made speculations in their hearts, now that the matter is brought to the surface, everyone really doesn't know how to choose. Li Yan, don't worry, I'll deal with some garbage first. After that, the remaining people will have the right to choose. The door to the conference room was pushed open, and Shanks, Zephyr, Eniru, Sengoku, Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru slowly walked in. They stood at the door, acting as doormen. This was to tell everyone be honest. Then countless black shadows appeared on the ground and turned into shadow soldiers. Li Yan activated the power of the monkey charm and turned all the heinous nobles into weak animals, including chickens, ducks, geese, rabbits, etc. It was simply a real-life version of Zootopia. These nobles turned into animals, it has human thinking, but cannot speak or have power. Apart from its soul, it is exactly the same as a real animal. It is said that it tastes like chicken and is crunchy. Li Yan, Take these heinous chickens, ducks, geese, and dogs out and kill them. Throw their bodies into the sea to feed the fish. Countless shadow soldiers began to move, each of them carrying one, like a slaughterhouse. These nobles were shouting, chirp, but no one could understand what they were saying. Li Yan said to the remaining nobles at the scene, "You are safe, leave now. The navy will arrange for you to wait elsewhere. The rest of the content is too bloody and violent. I guess you don't want to see it." Neptune and Cobra both breathed a sigh of relief, and Ivankov, who was hiding behind the dragon, also revealed his head again. Although Dalton, King Liku and others were not wise masters, fortunately they were all very kind. After oppressing the people, Li Yan did not take the life of Sanji's father, Gaji, because he had no territory and was only doing some arms trading. On the other hand, the remaining pirates didn't even dare to breathe. They were terrified from the bottom of their hearts. They turned people into chickens, ducks, geese, and dogs, and then killed them and fed the corpses to fish. This was simply a devil. Although many pirates are afraid, most of them are guilty. No pirate thinks that he can survive. Whitebeard asked in a deep voice, "Are you planning to kill us all?" Li Yan, although your pirate group hasn't done many bad things, they are still pirates, so. Whitebeard, I am willing to accept any punishment, I just hope you can let my sons go. Dad, we're going to die together. The worst we can do is fight him. Marco roared angrily. The Golden Lion stood up and shouted, "Marco is right. We are all men pursuing freedom on the sea. Why should others decide our life and death? Whitebeard, you are so confused. We have so many pirate groups working together and we can't defeat them. Is he the only one?" Kaido instantly burst into laughter. "Everyone, come on together." Auntie didn't hesitate and decided to join the battle. Even if she died, it would be better than those nobles of the world who were turned into animals. The three emperors decided to go to war with Li Yan. The legendary pirate Golden Lion also wanted to fight Li Yan to the death, and Brother Ming from the Shichibukai no longer hesitated. Doflamingo yelled, "Crocodile, Moria, what are you two still hesitating about? Do you think he will let us go?" Li Yan smiled slightly and motioned for the navy who had just stood up to sit down. "Brother Ming is right, you will die if you don't resist, but if you resist, you will die in an extremely painful way." Li Yan released strong pressure and pushed the resisting people to the ground. Even stronger than Kaido, Auntie was crushed to the ground by the pressure released by Li Yan, unable to move at all. "What I don't like the most is the guy who fights with me. Do you have the strength? I can crush you to death like an ant." Li Yan stretched out his hand and turned Kaido's huge body into an ant. Then Kaido, who was floating in the air, was instantly crushed by the strong pressure. No bones were left, not a drop of blood, not a roar. The former king of the sea, so he fell. Then the members of the beast's pirates were turned into various animals by Li Yan, including chickens and ducks. Now the beast's pirates are like a zoo, with monkeys and tigers. Li Yan smiled. "Now you are worthy of being called the beast pirates. You can live in this capacity from now on." Then Li Yan didn't intend to stop. Since he dared to resist, let's let them die together. Whitebeard's backbone and courage roared loudly. "I beg you, let my children go, I will give anything." Li Yan, gods never negotiate terms with mortals, but don't worry, the next one is the Big Mom Pirates. Charlotte Lingling, you are really heinous. In order to satisfy your own selfish desires, you have enslaved countless people to make desserts for you. If you don't pay tribute on time, you will sink the island and kill all the islanders. So, after a public trial, you, the Big Mom Pirates, will all be sentenced to death. Then Li Yan released 1,000,000,000 volts of lightning, turning everyone in the Big Mom Pirates who came to the meeting into fly ash. As for those who did not come to the meeting, after the meeting, the Navy would do it for them. Now the faces of everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates are ashen. To Whitebeard's surprise, Garp interceded on their behalf. Garp clenched his fist, after hesitation and struggle in his heart. "Holy Lord, the war on top that you told me is real. Since it is true, then I, Garp, owe the Whitebeard Pirates a favor. I hope you can spare the Whitebeard Pirates. We the Mancha D family will serve you for generations." Li Yan was not surprised by what Garp said. The most shocked ones were all the members of the Navy and the Whitebeard Pirates. Of course, the most surprised person was Long. "What's going on? I was betrayed by my father again. Li Yan thought about it carefully. The Whitebeard pirates are indeed not the worst offenders. Although they accept offerings from the islands within their own territory, they will also protect these territories from invasion by other pirate groups. Even Kai Sha Jinbei has a deep relationship with the Whitebeard pirates. In terms of friendship, we can also see that the Whitebeard pirates are still very loyal. Secondly, Whitebeard is not very ambitious. After Roger, he was the most promising to become the pirate king, but he gave up. In his eyes, family love is the most important, right? Li Yan once admired Whitebeard very much. This man could risk his own life to fight the Marines in Marineland for Ace. Now Garp intercedes on his behalf and is willing to serve me for generations, so I reluctantly accepted it. Okay, the Whitebeard pirates are now disbanded, and all members have been organized into the Navy Reserve, led by Sengoku, Zephyr, and Garp, and will be trained and reformed. As for you, Whitebeard, just take care of yourself. Li Yan originally wanted to kill Marshal D. Teach, but then he thought, it would be a good idea to keep this guy around. Wouldn't it be boring if everyone didn't cause trouble? Brother Ming, who just screamed the loudest among the Shichibukai, is now lying on the ground like a dead dog, unable to move. The same is true for the legendary pirate Golden Lion. If his healing beam hadn't cured everyone's diseases and disabilities before, now this guy still has 2 swords in his legs, not only did not appreciate me, but actually dared to yell at me. It is really a sinister society and people's hearts are not ancient. Li Yan, Brother Ming, you killed your own father in an attempt to restore your identity as a Tianlong. Since you like trash so much, of course you should go and hang out with those trash. Reaching out, a beam of energy shot out from his fingers and penetrated Doflamingo's head. Golden Lion Shiji, you have a broken rudder on your head, and you still dare to yell at me. I think you are a dung beetle who is hungry, looking for death, shit. After insulting Shiji, he felt a lot better. He casually enlarged the rudder on Shiji's head. Shiji's head was exploded and he died. This frightened Crocodile and Moria. Sir, it was Doflamingo who seduced us too. We are unjust. Please spare our lives, sir. Li Yan didn't have a good impression of them, so he fired 2 energy beams and sent them on their way. Now in the venue, the Beast Pirates have been destroyed, the Big Mom Pirates have been destroyed, and a large number of evil-doing world nobles have been destroyed. The number of people in the venue has been reduced a lot, but the remaining people, except for the Navy and the Whitebeard Pirates, are heartbroken. It's all raised to my throat. Don't be nervous, everyone. Let me announce those of you who are absolutely safe. Yishao, Hawkeye Mahawk, Pluto Rayleigh, Jinbei, Empress Hancock, Bear, Dragon, Kushiro, you are all safe. Chapter 51. Now that all the ones have been killed, it's time to talk about ideals and distant futures. Li Yan, this beautiful sea has been made a mess by pirates and the corrupt world government, but fortunately, I appeared in time to save the innocent people in this world and rescued them from the dire straits of life. Now I am about to return this as the kingdom of God. In order to prevent the sea from falling into chaos, I will remove all unstable factors. Today, as witnessed by everyone, Kaido and Big Mom have surrendered, and Whitebeard has also corrected his evil ways. However, there are still countless pirates on the sea, so I plan to conduct a large-scale raid. All navies and soldiers from all countries will be dispatched. I will definitely wipe out all the evil forces on the sea. Warring States period. Holy Lord, the entire navy, totaling 300 million men, is ready to go at any time. Very good, let's start forming a world-united military government now, with Sengoku as the Marshal, Shanks, Aniro, Zephyr, Garp, Akainu, Kizaru, Aokiji, Hawkeye Mahawk, Dragon, Crane, Magellan, Yishao, assume the position of General of the United Army. Now I don't care whether you are a revolutionary army, navy, or a soldier from other countries, you must obey orders obediently. Anyone who disobeys orders will only have one fate. Yes, even the Sea Emperor Kaido and Big Mom are like ants, easily wiped out. How dare that iron-headed boy resist? Li Yan has brought huge pressure to this world, and there will be no delay in what he wants to do. After the order is issued, countless warships left the military port and began to clear out the pirates. Li Yan was stationed at the naval headquarters, and 13 top powerhouses including Warring States Zephyr were each responsible for a direction. In order to complete the matter quickly, Li Yan sent 3,000. There are 1,000 black shadow soldiers and 4,000 million black shadow night bats. At this time, the Air Force in the Black Shadow Corps can be responsible for detecting the enemy's location and transporting naval soldiers to quickly enter the battlefield. Between the 800 million shadow soldiers and million combined troops, after a large-scale settlement, countless pirate groups were destroyed, and countless pirate heads were chopped off and thrown into the sea, becoming delicacies of the Sea King class. Countless pirates were frightened out of their courage, and the pirate groups were completely disbanded. The thieves fled in all directions, and the remaining pirates remained anonymous, pretended to be deaf and mute, and lived a low-key civilian life. This clearance lasted 35 days, killing more than 210 pirates, destroying more than 30 large and small pirate ships, seizing 8 devil fruits, seizing billion Baileys, and seizing more than gold ton. For a time, the sea was calm, and all the people no longer had to worry about pirate attacks. The whole world began to become stable and peaceful. Various industries began to recover and develop, and people's living standards improved linearly. East China Sea, Cocoa West Village, Nami's hometown. The oranges here are sweet and of high quality. Now the supply exceeds demand. As the sea stabilizes, their oranges are sold further afield. You can even buy oranges from here at the Navy headquarters, Tangerine. Garp walked on the bustling street of the Navy headquarters. Several Marines came towards me. Seeing Garp, he hurried forward to say hello. Lieutenant General Garp. Bah, General Garp, you are also strolling around. Garp nodded. Why are you so free? Don't you even need to train? Admiral Garp, it's like this. Now that pirates are almost extinct, there's not much point in continuing to be a navy. I plan to retire and go home to do some small business. Garp would have never heard these words in his lifetime, but pirates are really extinct. They are harder to find than rare animals. Hundreds of naval warships and tens of thousands of people cannot find a single pirate in a day. Garp patted the sailor on the shoulder and said, "Do a good job, young man, you will have a part in bringing peace to the sea." Garp, who continued to wander alone, happened to meet a merchant selling specialties from the East China Sea. Garp asked curiously, "Are you from Donghai?" "Oh, you are General Garp." Garp nodded. People who don't know Garp in this world are rare. I'm not from the East China Sea, but now that there are no pirates, reselling goods is the most profitable business. After saying that, he picked up the oranges and other fruits on the stall and said, "Try them. These are the oranges from Kokoja village in the East China Sea, and this one is the coconut from Kongdao." Garp picked up the orange and tasted it carefully. It really tasted the same as what he had eaten in his hometown. "Mr. Garp, thanks to you, we can do business safely. You don't know, every time I purchased goods before, I was always worried for fear of meeting pirates." Garp and the other party chatted for a few words, got up and left. In just a few days, the sea has become prosperous. I can't imagine how developed the sea will become in the future. On Kongdao, Zepha, who is free, is teaching his son. His wife brought 2 glasses of coconut water and said with a smile, "My child doesn't need to be like you. The sea has become stable now. He just needs to be safe." Zepha picked up a glass of coconut juice. Yes, what the gods couldn't accomplish in hundreds of years and dozens of generations of navy, God did it in a month. Shanks and Ben Beckman are sitting on the beach of Sky Island. Ben Beckman, what do we do next? Shanks, your strength is no worse than mine. Don't be impatient. You will be reused by the Holy Lord. Li Yan did overlook Ben Beckman. He is indeed very strong and should be only a little weaker than Shanks. After the Warring States period reported the results of the battle to Li Yan, he waited for Li Yan's next instructions. There must be a lot of pirates in the city. Bring Barrett here and kill the rest. Transfer Hiryu of the Rain to the Navy headquarters. Warring States. Yes, I plan to leave in a few days. What are your plans? Warring States. If possible, we hope to continue to follow you. The world no longer needs so many navies, and there is no use for us to stay here. Li Yan nodded. You come with me. Li Yan opened the portal to the Shadow Kingdom and took Warring States to an island. Warring States breathed in the clear air here and looked at the blue sea in front of him. Slightly doubtful, is this the kingdom of God? Li Yan shook his head. No, this world is very similar to yours. It also has a vast sea and endless islands, but it has 4 supercontinents. It is the new home I specially prepared for you. The oxygen content here is as high as 80.00%. The caterpillars here are 7 or 8 meters long, bigger than cattle. All the species here are huge creatures. 2 of these 4 supercontinents are very important to you. There is no threat to your survival, but the other 2 areas are a paradise for the strong. There are ferocious and powerful giant beasts and various magical creatures with great strength, allowing you to continue to enjoy the battle. Warring States smiled and was very satisfied with this place. It has a stable living environment and powerful monsters, which allows people to freely choose their lifestyle. Li Yan, if you are satisfied, please notify us. Anyone who wants to come here can do it. The land area here is hundreds of times that of yours. Anyone who comes here can live a prosperous life. Holy Lord, how are you? Are you satisfied? The huge head of the star-casting dragon King Thor poked in from the depths of the starry sky. He deliberately reduced his figure countless times, but in the eyes of others, he was still huge, covering the sky and the sun. The huge head of star-casting dragon King Thor, from the sky to the ground, is like a majestic mountain, blocking Li Yan and Warring States. His chin is close to the ground, crushing the mountain peaks, but his eyes are still located a few meters away. Thousands of meters of sky, the eyes are as deep as stars, the dragon horns above the head are hidden in the starry sky, each dragon scale is the size of an island, the dark blue dragon scales are reflected with light. Look carefully, there is mysterious magic on the dragon scales lines, powerful magical power is beating on it. Any weak creature, even if it just stood on these dragon scales, would be crushed by the energy emitted. He stretched out a huge dragon claw and gently touched Sang Guo's arm, shaking hands with Sang Guo. Li Yan said to the Warring States period, don't be afraid. He is star-casting dragon King Thor, one of my followers. The land under our feet was built by Thor in a day. In order to make your stay comfortable, he took great pains to restore your previous living environment as much as possible. Warring States swallowed his saliva and said weakly, thank you. Anyone who faces this kind of starry sky dragon will have the fear of facing the abyss. When star-casting dragon King Thor heard this, he burst into laughter. However, this was very painful for the Warring States period. His ears were almost deafened, his head was buzzing, and stars were appearing in front of his eyes. Li Yan quickly stopped him. Saul, go ahead and do your work. When they move here completely, you can come as a guest, but you can't interfere in any of their internal affairs. After bidding farewell to Saul, Warring States kneeled down on one knee in front of Li Yan and made a very formal request to follow Li Yan. Before, the Warring States period only knew that Li Yan was extremely powerful, but this terrifying starry sky dragon was just a follower of the man in front of him, so he had to learn more about his strength. Hey, we detected that you have a new follower. Ding, you get all the abilities of the follower. Buddha form, armed color domineering, seeing and hearing domineering, overlord color domineering. Li Yan has a physique like the casting star dragon king and a strong mental power, so these 3 colors of domineering are very useless to Li Yan. The Renren fruit, a fantasy beast species, in the form of a giant Buddha, the user can emit powerful shock waves, but its real effect is to allow the eater to gain the power, wisdom, and spirit like a Buddha, allowing the giant Buddha-like body to be combined with a smart mind, plus perfect attack skills, transform yourself into a perfect form with both mental and physical skills. Although Warring States is the top powerhouse in the pirate world, for Li Yan, this increase in ability is better than nothing. For Li Yan, the big Buddha form is nothing more than adding a fancy attack method. Warring States returned to the naval headquarters and began to work on the tasks assigned by Li Yan. Kill all the pirates advancing into the city and bring Barrett back to meet Li Yan. Come here, call Zephyr, Garp and Shanks, and tell me I have something important to announce. After sending the Warring States period back, Li Yan transformed into the form of a giant Buddha. His body was raised to a height of meters, and his whole body turned golden, exuding a unique golden luster. From a distance, he looked like a powerful statue standing among the mountains, shining with golden light. Buddha. Looking at his own form, Li Yan just wanted to shout. Namo Hatano Yui, Kitama Ozawa Maria, Master, just follow me. He palmed the towering trees in front of him. Boom, followed by a loud noise. The forest in front of me was blown to pieces. Warring States. I called you here because of important matters commanded by the Holy Lord. Upon hearing this, the three of them straightened their bodies and listened carefully to Li Yan's order. The Holy Lord ordered a bloodbath to be carried out into the city, and all the remaining pirates inside were executed. In addition, Barrett was brought to see him. Shanks nodded. It's still very simple. Waring states, no matter how simple the Holy Lord's instructions are, we can't be careless in the slightest. I plan for the four of us to join forces and lead naval forces to conduct a blanket search of the Impel City. No fish will slip through the net, and we will never be let down. The trust of the Holy Lord. Garp looked at Sengoku and felt a little strange. He suppressed his inner doubts and planned to get up and go to the warship. However, Sengoku stopped Garp and waited for Shanks and Zephyr to leave. Garp, I know you have a lot of doubts. Like Zephyr, I have completely surrendered to the Holy Lord and am a follower of the Holy Lord. But you, Akainu, Kizaru, Aoji and Shanks, have not officially. The surrender of the Holy Lord cannot be regarded as the follower of the Holy Lord, but can only be regarded as his subordinate, a marginal figure belonging to the Holy Lord's power. If this continues, you will lose the opportunity to enter the core layer. You should do a good job for Luffy and Ace. Think about it. Garp did not speak, and his expression was very solemn. In the world of pirates, he is confident that Luffy and Ace will become first-class strong men, who belong to the top of the pyramid. Even if they are not nobles of the world, they can live their lives freely. But under Li Yan, their strength is obviously not enough, so the closer they are to Li Yan, the more opportunities they have to continue to become stronger. Garp, who was thoughtful, left the conference room with Sengoku and headed to the military port. Here, naval soldiers were already ready to go. Just waiting for Sengoku's order, they would move towards the Impel City. Shanks looked at the battle and curled his lips. This guy is really high profile in what he does. Zephyr smiled slightly and explained to Shanks. With the pirates gone, the navy is too idle, otherwise the Warring States period would not have dispatched so many troops. These naval soldiers are very precious in his eyes. After receiving the news, Magellan, the summer commander of Impel Down City, began to make preparations. The entire propulsion city is a huge tower-like structure submerged in the sea. Its foundation is on the seabed. Since the propulsion city is built in a windless zone, the entire propulsion city is surrounded by giant sea kings. No one can swim in the propulsion city. The outer walls of the city were destroyed, and the prison was defended by a navy warship. In the dark area of the prison, there are various cells and torture rooms used to interrogate prisoners. These cells use a large number of sea stones to prevent prisoners with devil fruit abilities from escaping during interrogation. Impel Down City, as the world's strictest prison, imprisoned countless vicious pirates on the sea. In the past, the Navy, in order to prevent the devil fruits in these guys from reappearing on the sea, had always adopted a trap strategy and imprisoned them in Impel Down City. But today, their doom has come. Zephyr stood on the deck with a solemn expression, looking at Impel Down in the distance and clenching his fists. The pirates will be bleeding like rivers today. The naval fleet arrives. Magellan, the summer commander of Impel Down, has been waiting for a long time. This time Warring States personally led the team, firstly because he wanted to show off in front of Li Yan and prove his loyalty, the second is to completely eradicate the world of pirates. The last remaining pirates can also be regarded as bringing an end to their naval careers. Marshal, everything is well in the city. Do we need to formulate a battle plan? Magellan asked. Warring States shook his head and clenched his fists. Today, we have absolute strength and can overwhelm everything. Today we will be reckless once and teach these pirates a bloody lesson. Yes, the Warring States period issued an order. When all navies are ready, Magellan, the summer commander of Impel Down City, will lead the way and go to the depths of Impel Down City together. If you encounter pirates, do not hesitate at all and kill them directly, but everyone must also pay attention to your own safety. Pirates are very dangerous, and don't let go of any place. You must search carefully and kill all the pirates. Yes, the task is guaranteed to be completed. The Navy's emotions were high. This might be the last time they, as a Navy, would clear out pirates. From now on, their descendants can only see the pirates' experiences and know what pirates look like in the records and books. Although only 4 people including Warring States, Kapu Zephyr, and Shanks came this time, all 4 of them had been strengthened by Li Yan, and their strength had greatly improved. They were far beyond what the great pirates in this world could compete with. Zephyr possesses the infinitely powerful Ox Talisman. After the blessing, his own strength has increased 100 times. He can attack the Cyclops with the Pig Talisman from a distance. He is even more proficient in the use of his own armed color domineering. Zephyr's armed color domineering on the sea also belongs to that kind. The existence of the top 5, combined into, the cow charm plus the armed domineering, Zephyr's melee combat, in this world, only Kaido, the strongest creature, may be able to take a few punches. Ordinary big pirates with 3 to 5 billion, may with one punch, Zephyr was beaten into a pulp. Sengoku has acquired the demonic energy of the Earth Demon, plus his own rare Phantom Beast Devil Fruit, Human Fruit, and Giant Buddha form. He can also change the surrounding terrain like the combined fruit ability user Barrett, turning the land and rocks into after transforming his armor into the form of a giant Buddha. Warring states attached the surrounding land and rocks to his body. The dark brown earth and rocks completely covered the body of the golden Buddha, but his size skyrocketed again. He transformed into a rock 500 meters high. The giant is really like a mountain, giving people a strong sense of oppression. In this state, Sengoku's defense is greatly improved, and his huge body also brings him destructive power. If he wants to attack Sengoku's body, he must the rock attached to the outside of his body must be broken first. Needless to say, Shanks possesses the power of fire and can release extremely high temperature flames. Except that it cannot be elementalized, it is the same as the natural type burning fruit. Li Yan gave Garp the 10 rings of the stolen magic weapon. Although these 10 rings are not as good as the magic energy, they can make people immortal and maintain their peak condition. The 10 rings are also very suitable for Garp. He is good at fist attacks. 10 rings can increase the power of his fists. Magellan was not strengthened by Li Yan, but as a natural fruit ability user, his strength is naturally not weak. If it were not for the side effects of the poisonous fruit, he would never have been sent to Impel Down City to serve as the summer chief. The prepared warring states and others led tens of thousands of marines and began a crazy bloodbath to push forward the city. The first underground floor is the Red Lotus Hell. The crimes of prisoners imprisoned on this level are not that serious. The imprisoned prisoners are not strong and generally cannot defeat the blue gorilla. There is a large area like a forest outside the cell. The tree inside is called Sword Tree. The leaves on the tree are as sharp as blades, and the grasses, needle grass, that can pierce the human body like needles. The prisoners will run back and forth because of the poisonous spiders and the guards, and they will eventually bleed from being cut by these leaves and grass. So miserable. But no one would sympathize with them. The Navy's sudden visit surprised the pirates, but then the Navy began to attack without any explanation. All the pirates began to flee for their lives, but the Impel City's scope was limited, and no one could escape from here. Zephyr wiped the blood from his hands. He had just taken out the heart of a pirate. He wanted to see if these guys' hearts were black. How many times is this level up? Shanks asked. Magellan. This is the 4th level, the scorching hell. My office is here. The temperature here is extremely high, but to you Shanks, this is nothing. Zephyr said. I remember that the rewards for the prisoners held here are at least 5,000 million belly or more. Yes, Teacher Zephyr, the bounty for the prisoners held here is between 5,000 million belly and million belly. The big pirates with a bounty of over million will be given special care and imprisoned in the even more cruel 5th floor. Sengoku. No matter how much the bounty on these guys is, let's continue the attack now. Garp took a breath, and they fought all the way from the 1st floor to the 4th floor. Although the pirates on the first 3 floors were not strong, there were still a lot of them, and there were some that were better able to hide, so it took a lot of effort. Fortunately, the remaining 3 floors have fewer people than the 1st floor. After several hours of high-intensity fighting, some of the strong navy brought by the warring states period were exhausted, while the remaining small number of elites could continue to fight. The warring states period ordered the exhausted soldiers to rest where they were, and if they still had the strength to fight, they would continue to move forward. Taking advantage of this opportunity, they could select a group of the best among the best and train them as the backbone of the navy. The pirates on the 4th level are a piece of cake for a strong man like Sengoku Zephyr. The ones with some strength are not on the 5th or 6th level. These days, if you don't have any strength, you will be looked down upon even if you are a pirate. The number of pirates has decreased a lot, and the killing speed has also accelerated a lot. Shanks has been using his fire ability continuously. Countless pirates have been burned to ashes by his flames. He is training and developing in a planned way. If nothing else, the growth limit of this demonic energy is much higher than his own potential. Garp has no demonic enhancement, and the only thing he has is the 10 rings. Among the 4, his strength is at the bottom, and there is a big gap between him and a few others. He used all his strength to shoot out the 10 rings from his arm, and instantly shot at the body of a pirate runs through it. Although the future of the 10 rings is not small, the upper limit of this thing is here, and there is no way to improve it. The previous owner of the 10 rings has held the 10 rings for thousands of years, but his strength still has not improved much. Every time Zephyr attacks, he will beat the pirate into a puddle of flesh. It's not that he can't master this kind of power, but he hates the pirate now. Although his wife and children have been resurrected, and he has made up for the regrets in his life, but thinking about it from another perspective, there are many people like him who have had their relatives killed by pirates and experienced the pain of separation between yin and yang in this world. I have experienced it, so I can empathize with it. Every time I punch, it is not to kill for the sake of killing, but to avenge those who have lost their loved ones but have no ability to revenge. The feet stepped on the bloody ground, the clothes of countless navy were stained red with blood, and the blood of the enemy was covered all over their bodies. Warring states. Count the casualties. Marshal. No soldiers were killed, but 766 were slightly injured and 110 were seriously injured. Send the injured soldiers back to the warship and give them to military doctors for treatment. The others will rest for 10 minutes, and then we will go to the next level. As we advance deeper into the 5th floor of the city, a wave of coldness hit the face, instantly freezing everyone's body. They shivered involuntarily, the water dripped into ice, and the cold wind was biting. The extremely low temperature made many soldiers wrap up their clothes tightly and tremble, making it impossible to fight at all. Shanks lit several bonfires to keep the soldiers warm and avoid frostbite. Garp, let these marines return to the top. The temperature here is extremely low. If they endure it for a long time, they will soon get frostbite. Magellan, yes, Marshal, the prisoners here are big pirates with a bounty of hundreds of millions. Even with their strength, they cannot withstand this severe cold for a long time. Most of them were frozen to death, and the rest were not. They were also eaten by military wolves, so not many people can survive here. Zephyr has been an instructor for so many years and clearly knows the limits of these navies. It's normal that the soldiers can't stand the cold. Pirates with a bounty of hundreds of millions will freeze to death, let alone these ordinary navy. The Warring States period asked the soldiers to retreat temporarily, leaving only 5 of them. On the 5th floor of Impel City, even people with excellent physical fitness cannot survive here for a long time. The cold here is different from ordinary ice and snow. The cold here is deep into the skin and reaches the bone marrow. The temperature is at least below 0. At 60 or 70 degrees, the cold air inhaled in the lungs accelerated the loss of body heat. Several people searched here for a long time, but except for a few sets of white human bones, no trace of living people was found. Shanks, this is not the way to go. If there are just 5 of us, we won't be able to search the 5th floor in less than 10 days and a half. Magellan, there are a lot of military wolves here, but they are very wild, otherwise we can let them lead the way. Shanks, can't we just catch a few of them and tame them? Zephyr said. It's easy to catch a few of them, but can you tame them? Shanks, haha, pretend I didn't say that. Warring States, give it a try. There is no other way at the moment. Training wolves can be like training military dogs. Zephyr, this is the only way. Otherwise, there are so many pirates hiding, and we really have no way to find them slowly. Naval Headquarters. In the Qingzidu office, the 3 generals secretly held a small meeting. Akainu, Aog, why did you call us here? It turns out that Aokiji summoned Akainu and Kizaru to discuss the mysterious Li Yan with them. They are relatively unfamiliar with Li Yan. They have not spoken a few words since they first met, and they do not understand Li Yan's temperament. Teacher Zephyr is the first to follow Li Yan in the Navy, but the 3 of them and the relationship between Zephyr and Zephyr is not very good. Trying to get information from Zephyr is not feasible. Qingzi shook his head. I have nothing important to do. I just want to ask what you think of the mysterious Li Yan and the situation on the sea. Kizaru looked lazy. Now that the pirates in the sea have been cleaned up, we no longer have to work overtime. How great. Even Akainu and Aokiji are accustomed to Kizaru's laziness. Akainu, you want to say, where should we go from now on? Aoki nodded. There are no pirates here anymore, and the navy has become very useless. If you stay here as an empty shell naval admiral, it is better to follow the real strong ones. Qingzi narrowed his eyes and asked Akainu in a low voice, have you carefully looked at Teacher Zepha's strength? Akainu shook his head. Ever since they graduated under Zepha, they have been almost inseparable from Zepha. So Akainu only knew that Zepha had become stronger, but by how much, he really didn't observe carefully. Qingzi said, although the three of us have also improved, the direction of improvement is different from Teacher Zepha. Teacher Zepha is still a pure physical expert, and his strength has increased by at least dozens of times. You mean, we can also improve our physical fitness like Teacher Zepha? Kizaru showed a lewd smile. I think it's very good now, you just like to mess around, I'd better live in peace and contentment. Akainu ignored the eating ape waiting to die. This guy was not on the same page as the two of them at all. Qingji nodded, it's just that we won't be given the chance. Akainu was confused. Why? Qing Pheasant, we haven't made it clear that we want to follow him, so why does he give us power? So I think we should take the initiative. Akainu pondered for a while. My thoughts are the same as yours. We can't wait any longer. Didn't you notice? Today, Marshal Sengoku went with General Zepha, General Garp, General Shanks and Marines. Push forward the city, and we don't know what they are going to do at all. Even if we know, we are not qualified to participate. If we wait, I am afraid that the position of general will belong to others. Of course Aokiji knew what Sengoku and the others were doing, otherwise he wouldn't have asked Kizaru Akainu to come to the meeting. It's not just the three of them who know the news. In the home of Yishao, Hawkeye Mihawk and Long, the three of them got together. Because of Yishao's personality, Long wanted to win over him. Mihawk saw that Yishao was good at swordsmanship and was very pleased with him. The three of them had a good relationship in private. Yishao's eyes were healed by the healing power released by Li Yan. He witnessed with his own eyes that the world had become better under Li Yan's rule. Whether it was democracy or dictatorship, at least all the people supported Li Yan. No matter young people even built a temple specifically for Li Yan and worshipped him as the savior. Looking at the two people who came to his house together, they smiled with a little doubt on their faces. What do you two want today? Long, today, warring states took my father, Zepha, Shanks, and Navy troops to impel down city. Hawkeye Mihawk asked, is there any problem? Long shook his head. This should be the task assigned to them by the Holy Lord. Yi smiled. Oh, since someone has already done it, it has nothing to do with us. Wait a moment, I will make a pot of tea. Long smiled and asked him to sit down. He felt that it was a bit difficult to talk to him. What I mean, don't you understand yet? Hawkeye Mihawk knows nothing about this kind of power struggle and has no intention of learning. Understand what? Now everyone is starting to join together, hoping to squeeze into the core layer and gain the power to become stronger or even become a god. Yishao shook his head and said, excessive pursuit of power will only make you lose yourself. Long, I don't agree with Yishao's point of view. Look at Mr. Li Yan, is he strong? Is he lost? Don't forget that there will be no more pirates or revolutions in this world from now on. Military, this world is controlled by the coalition government and the world is stable and peaceful. Eagle Eye, think about it. You will have no pirates to practice in the future. No one will challenge you anymore. Business is developing rapidly now. Many islands have been contracted by the government to individuals for management. In the future, you may destroy a few trees at will. They are all other people's private property. The government will classify you as a dangerous person and arrest you and lock you up for several years. Hawkeye Mihawk and Yishao are not stupid. They are also well aware of the changes in the sea. According to Long, all this is very possible. For Yishao, such a world is what he dreams of seeing. But for Hawkeye Mihawk, if he can't continue to become stronger and practice swordsmanship, it's better to kill him. Long was also very tired. When he saw that the Navy was trying to form a gang, he quickly found 2 teammates for himself. Unexpectedly, these 2 guys were really unreliable. If he couldn't stand the iron fist that his father loved, he would have been there long ago. Here comes a father-son duo. The warring states people saw that the captured military wolves were in trouble. The Wongs could only make them submit, but could not convey the order. Zepha asked warring states, "Do you think it is still necessary to push forward the city?" Warring states was stunned. "What do you mean?" Zepha, "Go to the 6th floor first. After solving the problem, completely destroy the Impel city and let it become the burial place of these pirates." Sengoku and Garp thought the same thing. Now that the sea has become stable and peaceful, the Impel city has lost its former role. It is better to be buried in the sea with these pirates. The 6th level of Infinite Hell. Those imprisoned here are all great people. Once they enter here, they are almost sentenced to death. No one has a chance to escape. No pirate can be imprisoned in this level. They are not legendary figures, such as Golden Lion Shiji, Lonely Red, Redfield, Descendant of the Devil, Douglas Barrett, etc. So far, only Golden Lion Shiji has escaped from here, but he also lost my legs. Since the prisoners on this floor have done many evil things and committed some extremely cruel incidents that were covered up by the government and even deliberately concealed in newspapers, many of the pirates' deeds here are kept secret, but Sengoku, Zepha, and Garp are not. You know, there are no good people here, they are all scum among scum. Gia Gia Gia, look who's coming. In an instant, countless eyes focused on the 5 Sengoku people. Sengoku, Zepha, Garp, and Magellan were all known to the pirates here, but not many people knew about Shanks. GG, it turns out to be the Navy Marshal Warring States. Do you dare to let me out? I will skin you. Then countless dirty words appeared, cordially greeting the TH generation of Zepha's ancestors during the Warring States period. Zhang Guo's face turned dark, and he was obviously very angry. After being a naval marshal for so many years, no one dared to scold him in person. Today, he was scolded by several deadly guys. Garp's expression is not much better than that of Sengoku. He didn't like these guys in the first place, but now he is so arrogant after being imprisoned in Impel Down City. Only Magellan was okay. He had long been accustomed to the abuses of various pirates and didn't take it seriously at all. Zepha said in a deep voice, "Magellan, are you feeding these guys too much? If I were you, I would make them feel that shit smells good." Warring States roared angrily, "Shut up, today is the day you bunch of rubbish will die." Zepha rushed in and smashed a pirate's head with one punch, causing red and white objects to fly everywhere. Zepha said with a sullen face, "Come on, you trash, keep scolding. The current group of pirates is no match for a few people. Zepha alone can easily kill all the pirates inside." Seeing Zepha's ruthless attack, some people panicked. You actually dare to kill people, aren't you afraid that the devil fruits in us will reappear in the sea? Then what can I do? Among you trash today, except for Barrett, who the Holy Lord has named to meet, the rest of the trash will die. Warring States suppressed his anger and planned to find Barrett first, saving a moment and accidentally killing him. He had no way to explain to Li Yan. Warring States shouted to the prison, "Douglas Barrett, be alive. Someone wants to see you." In a dark corner, Barrett kept watching the Sengoku people who suddenly appeared. To his surprise, it was an old acquaintance, the red-haired Shanks who was on Roger's ship. "Shanks, I didn't expect that after 10 years of seeing you, you would already be in the Navy. Judging from your appearance, you must have become an admiral." The majestic voice sounded, and when the redhead heard it, he knew it was that monster, the one who could tie Rayleigh at the age of 15, the monster who always strives to surpass Roger. Shanks nodded, seeing old acquaintances here who had been separated for more than 10 years, he also felt that things were different and people were different. "Yes, I am indeed an admiral now, but I am still the god of fire in the kingdom of God. Let me tell you a secret. I have gained power that surpasses Captain Roger. I am now much stronger than Roger at his peak." Quote. Barrett rushed out of the corner in an instant and hit the prison's stone railing with a bang. His eyes were as wide as copper bells. He stared at Shanks and roared, "You lied to me, how can you surpass Roger?" Shanks ignored him and didn't need to explain anything to him. With his current strength, he could easily torture him. When the Warring States period saw that Barrett had been found, he stopped talking nonsense and went on a killing spree. These pirates were like chickens and dogs, with no strength to resist at all. Zephyr grabbed a person's shoulder and squeezed it hard. The shoulder blade shattered with a click, and then kicked him away with a strong kick. With a bang, he was directly embedded into the wall of the Impel City prison. The 10 rings became more and more flexible in Garp's hands. Every time he punched, some pirates would be killed or injured. Sengoku also transformed into the form of a golden Buddha, and fought with dozens of pirates. The pirates not only attacked Sengoku, they also attacked each other. There was no tacit understanding at all. At this critical moment of life and death, these guys still couldn't unite. From this we can see how bad these guys are. Sengoku aimed at several pirates and slammed down his huge fists. But what surprised Sengoku was that among the pirates he attacked, someone stepped forward and raised his arms to catch his punch. Sengoku removed his fist, revealing the person standing below. It's him, Red Earl Redfield. The current Red Earl is no longer young. He once competed with Roger, Golden Lion, and Whitebeard for the throne of Pirate King. By himself, he gained the same title as Roger Pirates and Whitebeard Pirates. Warring States. It's really troublesome. The remnants of the old era should be prepared to die. Redfield knew clearly that he was definitely no match for Warring States. He looked at Warring States, Zephyr and Garp, 3 strong men of the same era. The 3 of them were still in high spirits, showing no sign of the passage of time, and their strength was even worse. I don't know why they have become so terrifying. These ferocious pirates, in front of them, are like glass, shattering at the touch of it. Just now, I tried my best to barely receive Sengoku's punch, but my internal organs were severely damaged. I just forced myself to take a breath and suppress it. Warring States, can you spare my life? I am old and no longer a threat to the sea. Red Earl Redfield, with his proud head underneath, looked like he was begging for mercy during the Warring States period. In that chaotic era, you would have thought you heard it wrong, but the passage of time can not only make people age, but also smooth out anyone's edges and corners. Warring States sighed and said, I'm just following orders. Red Earl Redfield, seeing that begging for mercy was in vain, prepared to fight the Warring States period. Although he had no chance of winning, he was once a famous pirate on the sea. If he could not live in an ignoble way, he would die spectacularly. Barrett watched as Sangwo and the others were chopping melons and vegetables, killing a group of extremely vicious pirates. For a moment, he didn't know what the purpose of Sangwo's actions was. Could it be that there are too many pirates imprisoned in Impel Down City, or what order was issued by the world government? As for what Sengoku said about someone wanting to see him, Barrett was not interested at all. What he was interested in was why the red-haired man's strength had improved so much. I think back then, when Roger was in the pirates, only Roger could defeat him. Even Rayleigh, known as the right arm of the Pirate King, could tie with him. But Barrett was only 15 years old at that time. After not seeing each other for more than 10 years, Shanks' power far exceeded his. This made Barrett very interested in Shanks. After finishing dealing with the miscellaneous soldiers around him, Warring States began to concentrate on dealing with the Red Earl. Although the Red Earl is aging and his strength is no longer at its peak, his hegemony of knowledge and color is among the best in the sea. The Red Earl was born with a strong sense of hegemony and can easily read people's hearts and memories, but to do this the premise of one point is that the person being read is either weaker than him or voluntary. However, it is obvious that these 2 points are not met in the Warring States period. Boom! Sengoku's punches hit him. The Red Earl relied on his excellent reflexes to dodge. However, he was already injured by the punch that Sengoku received hard. If this continues, his injuries may become more and more serious. He gritted his teeth secretly and cursed in his heart, "You guy, you don't respect martial ethics and bully old comrades." Apart from cursing in his heart, he has no other way to vent. Warring States was amazed at the Red Earl's excellent reflexes. If the Red Earl was at his peak, he would really have to put a lot of effort into defeating the opponent. As Zephykarp went deeper, many familiar faces appeared, such as Sanwan Wolf and Basque Chote, nicknamed Big Barrel. These 2 would become Blackbeard's crew in the future, but unfortunately, they did not wait for Blackbeard today, but for Zephyr and Garp. The red-haired Shanks met one of the few female pirates here. She is a user with fruit abilities, and her fruit is a very rare phantom beast species, the dog fruit, in the form of a 9-tailed fox. This female pirate named Katrine Diame Thief, she also joined the Blackbeard Pirates as the captain of the 6th ship in the future. She was also very unlucky. She will also be buried here today. Sengoku and Red Earl were fighting fiercely, but Sengoku was always attacking hard, while Red Earl was desperately dodging. The Red Earl was already out of breath, but there was nothing he could do. As long as Warring States punched him, he would not even have a chance to stand up. He charged up a blow and hit it towards Sangwo's chest. Suddenly, an earth wall blocked him. He waved his fist and hit the earth wall hard, breaking through the earth wall. Sangwo's huge fists followed one after another, and Red the Count spurted out a mouthful of blood mixed with some of his internal organs. The huge force caused him to fly backwards and hit the wall hard. Ahem, he raised his head with difficulty and looked around. There were broken limbs, broken flesh and mud everywhere. The screams of pirates filled the gloomy cell. He had experienced the fear he had never felt before for the first time today. Not only is he afraid, he is also unwilling. Tap, step, Warring States walked slowly, intending to quickly understand the remnants of this old era. The Red Earl smiled miserably. He had brought a lot of disasters to the sea. He also spent most of his time in the city. Today, he was like a bereaved dog. He was pressed to the ground and rubbed. Warring States asked coldly, "Do you have any last words?" The Red Earl thought for a while and shook his head. He had no children and no worries in his life. His only belief may be the pursuit of freedom and the desire to become the Pirate King. Warring States mocked, "For people like you, what's the point of becoming the Pirate King? You still have nothing, no family, no friends. Now that you're dead, you won't have a tombstone, and there will be no one to pay your respects. About you in the sea, everything will be wiped clean, and you will be like the air, as if you never existed." Warring States raised his fist and smashed it down hard, smashing it into a thin meat pie. Zephyr was also playing, torturing the wolf of San Juan. He punched the wolf like a rainstorm in the wind, beating it into a human shape. The originally huge wolf was now unsteady, its eyes were dull, and the fierce attacks would his brain was beaten into a fool's errand, and his whole body was covered with deformities caused by fractures. His chest was deeply dented, and it was obvious that various internal organs had been broken. He spat out a mouthful of blood, his eyes were round, and he leaned back and fell to the ground, twitched violently for a few times, and then lost his breath. Garp joked, "Ha ha, Zephyr is the only guy who died by your hands, and his body is still intact." Zephyr smiled slightly, making no secret of his disgust for pirates. "These guys, even if they die without a whole body, it's an advantage for them. Navy, you're looking for death." Basque Chote was angry, big wine barrel. Although he was wearing prison uniform and looked very embarrassed, he was now like an angry beast. He knew that as long as he defeated Garp in front of him, he would have hope of escaping. Ha ha ha, Garp's classic laughter reappears. "Basque Chote, just let me finish you off. Strike with an iron fist." Garp jumped up, and the 10 rings on his arms flashed with blue light. Garp used all his strength to hit Basque Chote's body. Seeing Garp's posture, Basque Chote did not dare to be careless at all, and quickly waved his black fist to fight back. Boom, Basque Chote flew out in response, and hit the stone wall of the impelled-down city prison with a bang sound. The arms he and Garp were fisting with were gone, and they were shaken to pieces by Garp's huge force. The broken pieces, the huge lacerated wound on the shoulder, blood constantly gushing out. Falling from the wall, Basque Chote used his remaining arm to wipe the blood that spilled from the corner of his mouth, stood up and roared, "Asshole, I'm going to kill you, kill you." Saying that, he rushed towards Garp. Garp grinned and praised, "Courage is commendable, but it ends here." In an instant, the 10 rings on his arm shot out and hit Basque Chote's body. A huge hole appeared in his chest, which was the huge wound left by the 10 rings. Basque Chote fell to the ground, his eyes were blank, his pupils were dilated, and he looked like he would not survive. Several of the most powerful pirates were dead, and the rest were easier to deal with. After a while, only the Sengoku and Barrett were left on the 6th floor of the impelled-down city. At the naval headquarters, Li Yan was in the office, hugging Wanda and talking to each other. Although Wanda's heart and Li Yan's palm were only a chest apart, Li Yan still felt far away, not because of anything else, but simply because of his big heart. Wanda slapped Li Yan's dishonest hand away and said, "I've been out for 2 months, when are we going back? Pietro is alone at home, aren't you afraid that he will demolish the house?" Li Yan laughed and said, "It's okay. I have a hostage in my hands. At worst, I'll let his sister sleep to pay off the debt." Wanda punched Li Yan angrily and said, "Rogue." Li Yan was no longer joking, and said seriously, "Come on, wait for the warring states people to come back and discuss immigration. This time we will take at least tens of millions of people. If we want to experience the style of the pirate world in the future, there will be a place." Dong dong, knock on the door sounded. "Come in. Report, the 3 generals Aokiji, Kizaru, and Akainu want to see you." After listening to the guard's report, Li Yan was a little confused. Why did the 3 of them come together? Okay, let them come in. Wanda got up from Li Yan's lap, stood next to Li Yan, acted as a secretary, arranged Li Yan's desk, and filled Li Yan's glass with water. The door was pushed open, led by Aokiji, followed closely by Kizaru Akainu. The 3 of them entered one after another. After entering, the 3 of them stood at the door in a polite manner, like elementary school students who had made a mistake. Li Yan pointed to the sofa opposite. "Come here, what do you want from me?" Taking a deep breath, Qingzi spoke first. "After discussion, the 3 of us asked you to allow us to follow you. We will become your right-hand man and the sharp blade in your hand." Li Yan nodded. "I'm very happy that you think so, and I welcome you all." Hearing what Li Yan said, the 3 of them finally let go of their worries. This meant that it was not too late for them to arrive, and there was still a chance. When the 3 of them were secretly happy, there was a knock on Li Yan's door again. Qingji secretly muttered, "Warring states and the others are back so soon." "Dong dong, come in. Report, Mr. Yishao, Long, Mihawk needs to see you." "What day is today? Why are you here?" "Okay, let the 3 of them come in." With a smile, Long and Mihawk pushed aside cautiously and walked in. When they saw the 3 Navy generals, Long's eyes narrowed. He was so dark that he was a step too late and was taken advantage of. When Akainu saw that the visitors were not from the Warring States period, he began to guess the dragon's purpose. Could it be the same as his own purpose? "Li Yan, what's going on with you 3? Long, we hope that we can always follow the footsteps of the Holy Lord, return to the kingdom of God with you, and serve you. Even if it means working as a cow or a horse, the 3 of us are very willing." Qing Pheasant cursed secretly. "Flatterer. Your Mengqi Di family are all straight men, how come you are such a flatterer? Aren't you a cotton ball from the gutter?" Li Yan smiled. Okay, since they all came for the same purpose and are loyal to me, then I can't just watch the fun." Pa, Li Yan snapped his fingers, and several shadowy soldiers emerged from the ground. Under Li Yan's order, they took out wine glasses and the best Lao Bacon, and poured a full glass for each of the 6 people. Li Yan picked up the wine on the table and said, "Since everyone is willing to join the kingdom of God, let's drink this cup together." After speaking, Li Yan took the lead and drank the wine in one gulp. "We are willing to follow the Holy Lord forever and obey your will." After saying that, the 6 of them drank the drinks in one gulp. "Hey, we detected that you have a new follower, Kizaru Porisalino, Akainu Sakaski, Aoji Kuzan, Fujitora Yishao, Monkey D. Dragon, Jorakal Mihawk. Ding, you get all the abilities of the follower. Armed Color Hockey, Information Color Hockey, Overlord Color Hockey, Navy 6 Styles, Dragon Claw Fist, Great Swordsman Swordsmanship, Sparkling Fruit Ability, Frozen Fruit Ability, Lava Fruit Ability, Multiple Fruit Ability, Wind Fruit Ability, etc. Fruits arranged for dragons. Hey, it has been detected that the new abilities overlap with some abilities, and they are being merged and strengthened. Dip, merge successful. The strengthening abilities are as follows. Fire Demon Origin and Lava Fruit are strengthened into Hell Lava. Demon Origin of Wind and Wind Fruit are strengthened into Source of Hurricane. Freezing Power and Frozen Fruit are enhanced to Extreme Winter. Moon Demon Origin and Heavy Fruit are strengthened into Gravity Control. Armed Color Dominance is strengthened into Ultimate Armed Color. Seeing and Hearing Color Domineering is strengthened into Listening to All Things, Foreseeing the Future. Overlord Color and Domineering Spirit strengthened into Kingly Spirit. This time the strengthening was quite intensive. There were 6 people in total, each with different abilities and attributes. The one that satisfied Li Yan the most was Hawkeye Mahawk. His appearance finally allowed Li Yan to master a weapon proficiently. From now on, we can also wield swords and guns. The strongest ability after this enhancement is this foreseeing the future. Foresee the future. In battle, you can predict the opponent's actions for the next 90 seconds. You can also launch it against your own side to observe the status of your own friendly forces 90 seconds later. Although the time is short, not everyone has the ability to predict the future. Other Hell Lava, Source of Hurricane, and Extreme Winter are all enhancements and improvements of corresponding abilities. The strengthening of the 3-color domineering power really surprised Li Yan. Ultimate Armed Color, you can use super high-level armed colors at will and have extremely strong defense. The armed color changes from black to silver. When the body is attacked, it will automatically turn on, and it can also be turned off freely. Listen to all things is similar to the hard network function of Enelu, but it is more advanced. This ability can hear the sounds of nature, the inner voices of birds, trees, flowers and insects. King's Chi, the enhanced form of Overlord colored domineering energy, can intimidate any thinking animal, can make any thinking animal fearful, and can even command these animals to drive for itself. Looking at the 6 new followers in front of me, I am a little fat. If I don't add some fertilizer to the leeks, I'm afraid this will be the last one. You have done a good job. Starting today, you will be a member of the Kingdom of God. Isn't it too cruel to send Enel, Shanks, and Zephyr to the gods before? Just send them away like this. Li Yan's eyes rolled and he had an idea. The Kingdom of God has just started, and everything is not on track yet. Don't worry, wait a few days, and after the immigration is completed, I will announce your appointment. Yes, Lord, today, I will send you shadow soldiers each. As your personal assistants, you can freely control them. This is a benefit to you. In addition, each person can choose a weapon and decide how to design it when you go back. When I have time, I will ask the best craftsmen of the dwarves to forge it for you. Thank you, Holy Lord. The 6 of them were very happy when they left Li Yan's office. Not only did they get immortal shadow soldiers, they also got the weapons promised by the Holy Lord. Hawkeye Mahawk was a little excited. Although he owned Black Blade Knight, the weapon given by the gods should be considered an artifact. If you can have a divine sword, your strength will increase a lot. It seems that Long is right, following the gods is the correct way to become stronger. Shanks wiped the blood on his sword and looked at the mess on the ground, like a hell-like scene, and couldn't help but sigh. Fortunately, I met the Holy Lord early, otherwise I really don't know if there are any of my stumps here. Warring States. Barrett, come with me. Barrett glanced at Shanks, who couldn't beat him. Then he turned to look at Zephyr and Garp. These 2 were no match, not to mention the golden Buddha in front of him. Well, the one who used poison seemed to be not my opponent. But beating him is useless. Barrett agreed honestly. His cellmate's body was not cold yet. You should be more honest. Zephyr said. Let's go up. Now that the solution is done, I will dive into the water and knock down the wall of the Impel City. This is the last graveyard of pirates. Soon the group returned to the surface fleet, where all the soldiers gathered. Garp lent his 10 rings to Zephyr, and Zephyr put the 10 rings on his right arm. He would dive into the seabed, smash the outer wall of the 6th floor of the Impel City, destroy its weighing structure, and advance in this way. The city will completely collapse in this vast sea, and the pirates on the 5th floor inside will not be able to escape no matter how powerful they are, and will only be buried in this cold sea water. Several people from the Warring States period stood on the bow of the ship, waiting for Zephyr. They heard a huge explosion, and the entire Impel City began to shake. Waves also appeared on the sea. The hull of the ship was affected, and people were swaying on it. The walls of the Impel City, there were several huge cracks, and the wall began to fall into pieces. Countless bricks and tiles fell off and sank into the sea. With a bang, the entire Implement City collapsed completely. Garp and the others were anxious at the bow of the ship, fearing that Zephyr would not retreat in time and would be buried by the ruins of the Impel City. Zephyr avoided the huge falling ruins in the water. He threw his hands back and threw out the 10 rings on his arms. Under the strong reaction force, Zephyr rushed out of the water and landed on the bow deck. Seeing that Zephyr was fine, the people from the Warring States period began to return home. Shadow Kingdom. Star-casting dragon King Thor is casting a brand new planet. This planet is different from other ordinary planets. This is an entertainment star built by Thor. He plans to hold various competitions here, and the winner will receive various rewards. This suggestion was also agreed by Li Yan. As for the contestants, aren't there people in the pirate world? Warring States led the team back to the naval headquarters. A group of them found Li Yan and reported to him. Holy Lord, all the pirates in Impel Down City have been eliminated, and we have brought Barrett back. Looking at the tall, muscular man with long blonde hair in front of him, Li Yan couldn't help but sigh. Thinking about it, I am also 3 feet long, bah, a 7-foot man, but here I actually feel like I am Wu Delang. The shortest person in the whole room is Li Yan. The average height of the generals is 3 meters. Although Shanks is shorter, he is still nearly 2 meters tall. I really don't know how Oda planned the work in his hometown. Seeing that Barrett has many scars on his body and a tattoo on his left arm, he should be a serious social person. The reason why Li Yan likes Barrett is his talent. This guy is definitely a monster among monsters. Think about it, when Wang Lufei was 15 years old, he didn't even know how to be domineering, but Barrett was already able to compete with Rayleigh. If this guy hadn't committed suicide, and he only had to survive until he was 30 years old, then no one in this sea would be his opponent. Li Yan remembered that this guy escaped from prison when Blackbeard was making a big fuss. After he came out, he met Luffy, who had the aura of the protagonist. Because of the needs of the plot, he was defeated by the Straw Hats and many pirates. In the end, he was probably killed by the Navy. Li Yan asked slowly, "Do you know why I came to you?" Barrett saw that the Zephyr Warring States people were very respectful to him, and he thought that Li Yan was a Tianlong or an official of the world government. As long as he kidnapped him, he might really be able to escape. Barrett, I don't know. If you have anything to say, just tell me. Barrett lowered his stance as low as possible and involuntarily took a few steps closer to Li Yan. Li Yan, it's nothing serious. I just want to ask if you are interested in doing something for me. Barrett, oh, you should know that I am a pirate, right? Li Yan's eyes turned cold. Haha, it seems you still don't understand the situation in front of you. Li Yan teleported and appeared in front of Barrett. He was so fast that no one present could react. Li Yan slapped Barrett on the shoulder. The huge force instantly caused Barrett to kneel on his knees, cracking the ground. Severe pain came from his shoulder. Barrett gritted his teeth and tried to get up. But Li Yan's palm was like a mountain pressing down on him, and he couldn't move at all. Don't have any other unreasonable thoughts. If it weren't for your talent, you would have been a meal for the Neptunes by now. Then Li Yan kicked him in the chin. Barrett threw out a few teeth and was kicked to the ground by Li Yan. The Warring States people didn't respond at all, they stood aside and watched quietly. Li Yan took out the accessories from the red-haired waist and pointed at Barrett. You have one last chance. Whether you live or die depends on your own choice. After saying this, he waved his hand and cut off one of Barrett's arms. Ah! He roared in pain like a wild animal. His other arm subconsciously covered the wound, but Li Yan didn't want to waste time. Shuasha! He slashed twice in succession, cutting off Barrett's legs, and blood spurted out, turning the ground red. The severe pain made his eyes widen like bells, his mouth opened wide, and his face was distorted, but he couldn't make any sound from his throat. He tilted his head and passed out. Li Yan activated the power of the sheep talisman to pull his soul out of his body. Under the power of the sheep talisman, Barrett's soul cannot feel the pain of his body, but looking at his miserable state, even if he is vicious and arrogant, he can't help but feel scared. He looked at himself, lying motionless on the ground, and now floating in the air. Could he be dead? No, you haven't yet. If I cut off your neck with a knife, you will be dead. Barrett was scared, and he chose to give in. Although he had a huge scar on his head, who is not afraid when facing death? Barrett's soul body said, I am willing to surrender to you. You seem to be in a dilemma. If it doesn't work, just forget it, don't force it. No, I don't force it, I do it voluntarily. That's good. What I hate most is using violence to bully others. Li Yan activated his healing power to reattach Barrett's broken limbs. When Barrett's soul entered his body, he came back to life. Barrett knelt down and surrendered to Li Yan. When Sengoku saw this, he gave Garp a look, and Garp stepped forward. Shanks looked around, and it seemed like I was the only one left, so he also stepped forward and knelt down on one knee to pledge allegiance to Li Yan. Hey, we detected that you have a new follower. You gain the full abilities of your followers. Fusion Fruit Ability Iron Fist Armed Color Hockey, Seeing Color Hockey Overlord Color Hockey Navy 6 Styles Great Swordsman Swordsmanship. Ding, it has been detected that some abilities overlap with existing abilities, and we are now starting to strengthen them. Ding, the enhancement is successful. Ultimate Arms Listen to All Things Foresight of the Future and King Spirit have been strengthened by 1/10 millionth. Ding, Navy 6th Form was successfully strengthened. Advanced Physical Skills 6th Form. Ding, Great Swordsman Sword Skill has been successfully strengthened. Supreme Sword Skill. Oh, yes, this combination fruit has good abilities, but I don't like the fighting style. Now that everything that needs to be looted has been looted, it's time to retreat. In the conference room, Warring States asked, Holy Lord, how many people do you plan to bring? Li Yan, that depends, how many of you are there? Warring States said, let us calculate that the total number of Navy personnel is 300 million, and 90.00% of them are willing to leave with us. On average, each of them has 5 family members who are willing to immigrate. In other words, there are 270 million Navy personnel and there are 350 million family members, and there are 620 million people here in the Navy who want to immigrate. Long. The Revolutionary Army has overthrown many brutal rulers before. It has won the hearts of the people and has high prestige among the people. We have 300 million people here who are willing to immigrate with us. Li Yan touched his chin. Are there so many? Warring States. Holy Lord, this is the number of people we digest internally. They are all our own people. The news has not been completely announced to the outside world. If it is announced to the outside world, are there any restrictions? Li Yan, let's start announcing the immigration news to the outside world tomorrow. There is no restriction at all. I warmly welcome anyone who is willing to leave, but the time is only 7 days. After explaining the immigration matter, Li Yan stopped interfering. This time he made a lot of money. Garp has made it clear that he will immigrate with the 3 Luffy brothers. You must know that these 3 guys are extremely talented and lucky. After taking them away, he will train them well. In the future, these top-notch don't you already have fighting strength? Donghai Windmill Village, Ace, Luffy, and Sabo have been very happy recently, not because of anything else, but because the circus has come to the village. Bucky set up a huge simple tent in an open space in Windmill Village as a performance hall, and the audience was packed with seats. Audiences from all over the East China Sea came to watch the fun. Now Bucky is doing well. After the sea became stable, he did not dare to continue to be a pirate, so he started a circus show. Due to the improvement of civilian living standards and the lack of corresponding entertainment activities, Bucky's performance was a great success. Now he has a large-scale circus, and he is making money every day. This is more money than when he was a pirate. Now Bucky seems to have seen his future. For example, in today's performance, every audience member 1,000 belly was charged, and there were 600 people gathered here, so that night there was an income of 60. Bucky secretly planned to expand the scale, buy more lions and tigers, and also perform some dramas, such as The Justice Navy Destroyed, Pirates. There is a market for these programs that everyone likes to see, such as a heroic young man fighting against evildoers and finally embracing a beautiful woman. Enjoying the wonderful life in the future, Bucky couldn't help but laugh proudly. Bucky came back to his senses and shouted, "It's your turn to play Kabaji, the audience can't wait." After taking a puff of his cigar, Bucky ordered his younger brother to go to the tavern in Windmill Village to buy a few barrels of wine and more meat. After the performance in the evening, he would have a banquet to reward everyone. At the Navy headquarters, Li Yan opened countless portals to various islands. These portals can send Navy soldiers back to their hometowns, and bring relatives and friends who want to immigrate to the Navy headquarters for unified distribution, and then pass them through another huge portal, entering the new home in the Shadow Kingdom. Garp and Shanks returned to East China Sea Windmill Village together. Garp came to pick up his grandson Luffy, Ace and Sabo, while Shanks came to pick up Maginot. Makino, have you seen Luffy and the others? Garp, who was dressed very casually, was chewing his favorite senbei. He hadn't seen Luffy for a long time, and he really missed him. Mr. Garp is back. Luffy, Ace and Sabo are watching the show at the circus. Oh, then I'll go find them. After Garp left, Maginot and Shanks were the only two people in the tavern. Garp came to the circus door. Hello sir, if you want to watch the show, it's 1,000 belly per person. Well, you guys are really not cheap. Sir, this is the best circus in the East China Sea. You will never regret it after seeing it. Okay, give me a ticket. If he wasn't looking for his grandson, why wouldn't he come to see something like this? Walking in, Garp glanced around. Many of the people were villagers from Windmill Village and several nearby islands. It seemed that this circus was really popular. After searching for a long time, he found Luffy and Ace in the front row, sobbed 3 people. Garp leaned over and asked, "Where did you 3 get the 3,000 Baileys?" Luffy was also very happy to see Garp. Grandpa, Dayton's family brought us here. Now their family has moved to the village and they are no longer bandits. I took a closer look at the performance, and it was indeed pretty good. Not to mention the fact that Garp has lived for decades and has never seen any decent entertainment programs. After the performance, Garp took Luffy and the 3 of them back home. However, the red-haired man met an old acquaintance at the Maginot Tavern, Bucky, who came to hold a banquet. Bucky slapped 100,000 Baileys on the table. You can have good wine and good food, but I'm not short of money. But when Shanks raised his head and the two looked at each other, Bucky was stunned. But when I saw the red hair wearing an apron around her waist, she looked like a bartender. Bucky couldn't help laughing. Haha, Shanks, you told me you were going to be a bartender here. I am the big boss now, so you can speak to me if you are useful. As a brother, I will not refuse easily. Bucky patted his chest. Sure. Shanks grinned. Looks like you're doing well. Bucky waved his hands proudly, pretending to be humble. It's just so-so. Oh, by the way, how did you escape the Navy's pursuit? Shanks rolled his eyes and said, I've always been here, and there's no Navy chasing me at all. After hearing this, Bucky couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Awesome. In the hometown of a naval hero, that Navy dared to be so blind and act wild here. I am not as lucky as you. I gave all my savings to Colonel Mouse. Just to save my own life. Haha, you are really miserable. But who is this Colonel Rat? Doesn't he seem to be a good person? Bucky became angry instantly. It's true that he is either a good person or a scumbag in the Navy. He is the one who took away all the treasures that I worked hard for. The episode in the East China Sea ended quickly. Late at night, Garp was followed by 3.5-year-old children. Shanks was carrying Maginot's suitcase in his hand. Several people came to the door of the portal and wanted to talk to Windmill Village. The villagers left without saying goodbye, thinking that they would never come back. Even Garp's eyes were red, so he picked up a small pebble on the ground and put it into his pocket. From now on, this will be the sustenance of his longing for his hometown. Makino's eyes were filled with tears. She really couldn't bear to part with this familiar land and familiar villagers. Luffy, Ace, and Sabo were still children and did not understand the attachment of adults to their hometown. They also did not know that their destiny had been completely changed from the moment Li Yan appeared. This is true across the entire sea, with countless relatives and friends saying their sad farewells, and countless people making up their minds to leave their homes. Naval Headquarters. The Navy here is no longer out on missions, but is transporting necessary supplies for daily life and supplies for future construction to the new home through the portal. When these people came to their new home through the portal for the first time with trepidation, they were attracted by all the sights here. The tall and green towering trees revealed vitality, the warm and bright sunshine, and the chirping of orioles. The birds are singing and the flowers are fragrant. The fresh air contains the unique fragrance of plants. Take a deep breath and feel comfortable. Breathing here is a high-level enjoyment. The ultra-high oxygen content here makes the muscles of the body more powerful. Countless people instantly feel that they are much younger. They step on the broad and solid land. The black land is extremely fertile. The scenes in front of them make everyone feel extremely at ease. Do you think we can really get thousands of acres of land per family? No, the marshal can still lie to you as an ordinary private. Look at how fertile the land here is. The trees here are at least 300 meters high. Good times will come for our brothers in the future. Countless sailors who planned to immigrate began to look forward to a bright future. Look at the sky. Hearing the shouts of teammates, everyone came back to their senses and looked up into the distance. There was a huge raptor hovering in the sky. Its steel-like claws were like a cage holding a prey tightly. Although it was very far away, the huge bird was still there. The appearance of the bird is still very real. Resembling an eagle or an ostrich, it hovers thousands of meters in the air. Its wingspan blocks the sun and leaves a huge shadow on the ground. Its huge body makes people's scalp numb. This is the world's top predator, the silver-clawed giant. The eagle is a well-deserved behemoth. The sea kings in the pirate world may just be the sea fish that it feasts on. This world has many new species, which were created by the star-casting dragon King Thor based on some animals in the pirate world, In this endless deep sea, giant sea kings can only be regarded as shrimp soldiers and crab generals, and can no longer become the king of the deep sea. Countless giant beasts more terrifying than them live here. There is no threat from pirates here, but Li Yan doesn't want them to live a comfortable life. These giant beasts are both unlimited resources and deadly threats, but strong men cannot be born in the comfort zone. In this environment, a new generation of pirates will emerge in the world, will have greater achievements. The soldiers carefully moved the supplies to the designated location. Generals Zephyr and Ching Pheasant were stationed here to maintain order and to resist alien beasts. The soldiers arrived safely, and their anxious hearts finally settled in their stomachs. Before they could take a breath, the alarm was sounded. Report, 3 giant beetles found. Ching Pheasant, how many waves is this today? Is it still over? These beetles are huge, each one is the size of an elephant. The hard carapace on their back can withstand human artillery fire and defend against a large number of attacks. They are very difficult guys to deal with. Zephyr can tell at a glance that the carapace of this beetle can be made shield, or armor, so he did not take action. Instead, he let the Aoki pheasant freeze them to death, retaining the completion of the carapace as much as possible, and left it to him to do research when Vegapunk arrived. Immigration is in full swing, and countless people are coming from all directions, not only for the opportunities in the new world, but also to follow the Lord God. Warring States looked at the last group of people in front of him and said with some excitement, "Holy Lord, the immigration will be completed soon." Li Yan nodded and expressed that he understood. Warring States left Li Yan and found he. After they left, the remaining Navy would take over the rights in their hands and continue to cultivate fresh blood for the Navy to maintain a deterrent to the sea. He was the most trusted person of Warring States. She will serve as Commander-in-Chief of the Navy and the first President of the United World Government. He looked at Warring States and sighed with emotion. "Hey, Kapuzefa and you, the 3 of you are leaving. It seems that I am the only one left in the old era." After decades of friendship, now they are separated, even if they never see each other again, Warring States can't bear the sadness. The 3 of them have persuaded he, hoping that he can leave with the 3 of them. Although he is a girl, she is a generation, but she also has her own ideals, not to mention that she has long been tired of fighting. Now, singing and dancing on the sea and people living and working in peace and contentment are what she dreams of, so she wants to stay and squeeze out the last bit of her value and dedicate herself selflessly to this world. Warring States felt sad. "Take care, Crane, if we are destined, Zephycarp and the 4 of us will meet again in the next life." New World. This is the interior of the Shadow Kingdom. It was created by Star Dragon King Thor according to Li Yan's requirements, imitating the climate, environment and other factors of the One Piece world. It can be said that this is an upgrade of the One Piece world. It also has a vast sea and a large amount of land. It has 4 supercontinents and countless islands. 2 of the 4 continents are stable rear areas without the threat of giant beasts, suitable for humans. The other 2 continents are paradises for the strong, with countless powerful beasts inside. This is the best shortcut for the strong to become stronger. As the last group of people entered, Li Yan slowly closed the portal between the 2 worlds. From now on, the 2 worlds will no longer have the slightest intersection. Warring States. Reporting to the Holy Lord, the number of immigrants this time is 110 million, and other data are being calculated. Li Yan, from now on, you will still be solely responsible for the affairs here. I will not interfere more. Hey, I've done everything I should and shouldn't do. It's time to go home. He took out the teleportation gun that Rick was researching and shot a green beam at the open space in front of him. A teleportation door appeared in front of everyone. Li Yan entered first, followed by several people from the Warring States period, leaving the pirates completely. World. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.